Laredo, take us out.
Take her out.
All right! Blast off! Take flight each and every Friday night. Join the fun and let's go off-world. Geek out with us live where the nerdiness will thrive. Buckle up and let's go off-world. Toys, comics, pop culture news, movies and so much more. Matthew, Jesse, Curtis, and Sean are your guides on this fun-filled tour. Blast off! Take flight each and every Friday night. Join the fun and let's go off-world. Let's go off-world. Let's go off-world. Hey, hey, hey! Let's go off-world tonight.
Woohoo! It's OffWorld.
It is. Each and every Friday night.
Each and every Friday night. I'll tell you, folks, we have absolutely zero planned for you tonight. This is the 5th week of the month, which is normally a D&D week for Jesse. So we would be doing some sort of 2.0 or something, but Jesse doesn't have D&D, so we're here. But none of us really had the energy or wherewithal to put together a agenda. So we have no idea what tonight's going to go like. What I can tell you is that I'm in a super foul mood, and I can kind of get into that in a little bit. So, I just want to apologize to anybody that I insult ahead of time because I just am in a very terrible mood. But before I go into that, let's turn it over and see how everybody else is doing. So I'll go down below me to Sean. Sean, how you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm learning this week that buying my kids a Nintendo Switch turns them into the worst possible versions of themselves. So that was fun before we started the show.
Really?
Interesting.
That would be the best versions of themselves because the Switch is awesome.
It is awesome, but man, they are competitive. And if my 7-year-old doesn't beat the 11-year-old, then the 11-year-old talks smack. Then my wife loses her shit, and I'm like, okay, I got to record in 30 minutes. I got to get down there. But, so it's my way of at least I'm out of the battlefield. But
Baby Fight Club, winner take all.
Oh my god! Nice. But besides that, I really can't complain too much this week.
Okay. Well, I do see Joe Gonzalez just said that I can insult him. 2 things. Number 1, I would never insult you, Joe. And number 2, we didn't see you in the chat quite at first, and I thought maybe now that you got your tribute figure that you were just done with us like that. Like you got your reward and so now you're out. But that's about as much as I can insult you, Joe. So Dooch. How you doing, Dooch?
I am present and accounted for. I am here, and my plan for tonight was to entertain Joe, so Joe is here now, so all's good with me.
Okay. All right.
And
Jesse.
What was the question?
How are you doing?
I'm great.
Yeah?
I think.
Are you having D&D withdrawals? Like, do you feel like you should be rolling dice right now?
Please don't do that hand movement on camera like that.
And who has the dirty mind that the dice roll, buddy?
I've never seen anyone roll dice like that.
Oh, you will.
I hope not. No, I mean, yes. Because we've been playing that game. Like I've been playing with the people in that game, most of the people in that game for almost 10 years. This game these characters and the world we're playing in now we've only been into for a year, but I've been playing with them for a long time. So it's yeah, I'm missing it, but I'm glad to be here with you guys. And I was actually working on something D&D related, or not even related directly D&D for something that's coming up next year. So
nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, you just had Well, this is a week where it would be a bonus. So you did have 2 times that you played D&D this month, though, right?
We did play, yes.
Yeah. So you just didn't get the third,
We didn't get the bonus
one.
Yeah.
You could play by yourself. Sometimes that can be just as fun and a little bit safer. So,
okay.
Wait, what are we talking about?
I don't know. I do see we've got Jacob Forna out there, Joe Gonzalez, Greg, formerly of the Brute Scale. We got Rosedale Studios. Appreciate you guys joining us, and anybody that watches on replay or joins us later, we appreciate you as well. So
absolutely.
So I'll just get my little story out of the way, just so everybody kind of knows the shit I've been dealing with. So yesterday, about midday, maybe like 2 o'clock or so, I hear my daughter in the kitchen. She's like, "Oh, wow, there's a ton of water out here. Did you guys know this?" And thought somebody spilled something or whatever. Didn't know. So we go out there.
Say out there
in the kitchen,
like just on the floor, or
yeah. Well, that's what I didn't know. So I went into the kitchen, and yeah, the whole floor is covered in water. And we got hardwood floors in our kitchen, like the floating hardwood, kind of the paneling or whatever. And it's just drenched. I mean, there's water everywhere. And so we're trying to get it up. We're using up all our towels and mopping it and everything. And it apparently the drain that we have underneath the washing machine had backed up, had overflown and filled up the kitchen. So we're drying it up. We don't know what's going on. We try running some water in the sink and stuff, and sure enough, it starts backing up again. We're like, okay, well, this isn't good. So we call Roto-Rooter, because they got the jingles and everything, and I got it ingrained in my head since a kid. Like, you call Roto-Rooter. So I call them up. They come out, they take a look, and they say, because we don't have a basement, so in order to access the plumbing, they have to take out the toilet in the downstairs, and they got to snake it and everything, and then put the toilet back. So it's going to cost $625 just to look at it and work on it. That's not including if there's any problems. Like, okay, so there's $600 down the drain. Literally.
I like what you did there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So they take out the toilet, they bring in the snake, they work on it. This guy's like, ahead of time, he's like, oh, this will probably take anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. Okay. Well, he's going at it for like over an hour. Nothing. Then he takes that machine out. He brings another machine in. He's going at it for another hour. So now he's in there for 2 hours. And he comes back and he's like, well, I wish I had better news for you. He's like, I can't clear it. He goes, it looks like there's some mud coming back in it, which means that there could be a collapsed pipe or some problem on your, out there. And I'm like, so this is not good.
No.
So he said they're going to try to get a guy out to run a camera, and they're trying to get it. At this point, it's like 8 o'clock at night, and he's like, "We'll try to get somebody out tonight, but I don't know." So we stay up waiting, never get a call back from him. Finally, we get like a text message late in the night, and it's like, "Oh, well, they'll be out tomorrow morning." So today I had a doctor's appointment. Go to the doctor's appointment. I'm there. The guy calls me right as the doctor's coming in because, perfect fucking timing. It's got to happen that way. And he's, trying to explain to me everything. And I'm trying to talk to the doctor. I'm like, let me call you back, whatever. So I call him back afterwards. And basically he tells me that, hey, I can come out and run a camera. It's already included in the price that you've paid from last night because we weren't able to clear it. He goes, but if we lose the camera, which does happen often because you've got a break in your line or a problem in your line, if the camera gets lost, then we have to dig up your yard to get our camera back. And that's going to cost you a minimum of $5,500. Right. So he's like, but what I would suggest you do is actually contact the city, because based on how far the guy was able to snake before he ran into this problem, it's probably something to do with the lateral lines coming off of the main. Like, okay. So I call the city and don't get an answer, leave a message, couple hours later, a guy from the city comes back. Oh, that sucks. Sorry to hear that. Blah, blah, blah. Unfortunately, we're not the ones to call because that stretch of where your neighborhood is not through us. It's through this other sewer company. So you got to call them. So now I call the other sewer company and they no answer. Leave all my message, all my information. Now, meanwhile, we can't use anything in our house. We can't shower. We can't use the sink. We can't flush the toilet without this backing up. So we're like running to gas stations, my mom's house, whatever, to try to just use the restroom and do laundry and stuff. So they finally contact me after several hours and say that the guy that handles that program, he's on vacation till Tuesday. So, and he won't even answer his phone. And there's nothing they can do until Tuesday. And so I contact the homeowners association because like where we're at, like it's not really a condo. It's called a patio home, but it's basically like these attached houses, you know. It's kind of like a condo, but not really a condo. Anyway, we own the inside. They own everything on the outside. So we contact the HOA and I'm working through them through this whole process too. And they're trying to get somebody out. They have somebody that's coming out to look at it tomorrow morning, but who knows? Good news is that I guess last night, whatever the guy did, he cleared out enough that like we can like flush a toilet or run the sink like once every, you know, maybe like once every hour or once every 2 hours without it backing up. So there's some clearance, just not enough. If like when the guys from the sewer came out, they actually did look at the main line. They said the main line was clear. And they had me run it and I could run the water like in the sink for 10 minutes before it would start backing up. So we've at least got enough clearance that if we're careful and we keep watching the drain, we can kind of make it through till Tuesday, but it's just a disaster. And I don't know whether it's going to, like, I'm sure there's going to be a fight on whether the city wants to pay for it or whether the HOA is going to pay for it or whether we have to pay for it. So I don't know. It's going to be a hassle. So right now it's just been a rough 24 hours. I'm in a terrible mood. So yeah, I kind of needed this show, but I'm also in fear of this show because I know I'm in the kind of mood that I could easily just shit on somebody's opinion or favorite things. So there you go. That's my story.
I'm sorry that's happening to you, but that attitude, I mean, that applies almost any time you're on a show. Like, I don't think that's unique to this situation.
This is true.
We got you there.
But
it might be a little saltier tonight.
The fact that this cost me, like, 'cause I see things in terms of toys. So this cost me an all-in for Mythic Legions to not even clear the line. Like, you know, and then if it's what they said and like they lose a camera or whatever, they got to dig it up. Like now you're talking the equivalent of 10 all-ins. Like that's a lot. Like $5,000. That doesn't mean anything. The number doesn't mean anything. But if you tell me it's 10 all-ins, well, that's a shit ton of all-ins that I'm out for you to try to fix my plumbing. Like how can you equate running water out of my house to 10 all-ins with bears? Like 10 bears?
Yeah.
You're telling me this is going to cost me 10 bears, 10 barbarians, 10 female Vikings? Like that's a lot, you know.
I'm picturing Curtis with the Martin Lawrence meme from Bad Boys. Like, shit just got real. The minute you put in the all-ins, then all of a sudden it's like, now you're speaking my language, and now you're talking shit. See,
I can't believe Curtis didn't take the plumber out to the garage there and was like, okay, come on, like, what's this going to be? Is it going to be an Otho? Like, what are we doing? No, I'm not paying cash. I got, like, come on, I got Marvel Legends, I got Black Series. Yeah. What you need, buddy?
Yeah, he didn't seem like he was interested.
Think of it this way. At least you don't have to like weed whack the drain field over your own septic tank and get your family shit splashed in your face.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Been there.
And when it did back up, it was mostly just water. Like there was some dirt and grime and stuff that had been around like the drain that came up, but like it didn't like fill my kitchen full of shit or anything. But it backed up a couple times before we realized what was going on. And so like some of the flooring is now kind of warping a little bit, which really sucks. So I don't know. It's just, fun day or two. So
you got a dehumidifier, throw that in there. And
yeah.
Just run it full blast. That's about your best bet for the flooring right now.
Yeah.
And just run it for like
someone's got an awesome fodder sale going on in the Facebook group.
Oh, really?
Wall. Yeah.
Well, we're busy here. Joe says he dug up his own septic tank because he spent all his money on toys.
Well, there you go.
It's
yeah. And then, I'm telling this story to, our good buddy Len LaGuardia, and he sends me a meme with cousin Eddie emptying out the shit out of his trailer with my face on it, saying the shitter's full.
Man.
So
that's awesome.
I got good friends.
He needs to share that.
Thoughts and prayers. You know what I mean?
Hang in there.
Hang in there.
All right, well, let's talk some pickups. Let's talk some toys. Who wants to start? Who's got some stuff to share? Jesse, you want to start?
Sure. So I went to Target the other night. Didn't really plan on getting this, but when I saw it was on clearance for like $13, I was like, well, there's some fodder, some aqua fodder.
Is he like translucent at the bottom?
Yes.
You got the wrong big end.
I'm working on it.
Oh, very nice. How did you do that, by the way? How do you make him big and us?
It's the one, if you look at the bottom there, it's one big guy and the two little guys on the side.
And then how do you choose who's the big?
I just dragged it. Click and
you
drag.
It's whoever's on top.
Gotcha. Cool.
So
sorry, back to
semi-translucent.
So it's this semi-translucent, but I got it because it comes with this octopus.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up. I saw that, and there was one of just Aquaman by himself, and then there was an Aquaman with an octopus, and I'm like, why would anybody buy just the Aquaman?
And it's the same figure, like the
same
exact
figure.
No, it's not exactly the same because the other one isn't translucent. It's the black stealth suit. It comes with the trident, and if it comes with a trident, it must have one hand that grips because both of these are fists. Like this is really like I know.
I'll take Jesse's word on it. It looked exactly the fucking same to me, except one hand.
It's the exact same sculpt. It's the exact same sculpt, but he's not translucent.
Gotcha.
And I figured I can use the head on like on something. I don't know. Maybe put something with cosmics. I don't know. Wasn't really concerned about this, but because I'm doing a dwarf whale custom, and I got the seahorse sea dragon from the movie a couple weeks ago, I thought this would be a fun thing to go with that.
Now, is that octopus? Is it articulated at all, or is it bendy?
No,
or
it's just soft plastic.
Okay.
Soft,
it's got a little play in it.
Yeah.
So if you heat it up, you could probably bend it to move to where you want it to, or no?
Probably not, just because the way the sculpt is. It
does look cool though, because
it's about half the height of the figure, so like it's a decent size. And like I said, for $13, $14, it was.
Oh, yours were on sale then. Mine was full price, and I kind of noted in my head like, oh, if those go on like clearance, that's an easy pickup for the octopus.
Joe says translucent pants and an octopus. That's an anime dream right there. And Henri says Aquaman looks like Seth Rollins, which I very much agree.
Yeah.
So.
And I did.
How much was that Aquaman, by the way? Was that like a deal, or was that
13?
It was on sale. It was like $13.99.
Okay.
Like I had never even seen it before. I had saw someone posted about it in the Cabal, and I was like, oh, it didn't come with the octopus. They were just selling the figure. I'm like, nah, I want the octopus.
I hear that movie's
seen
bombing,
online.
by the way. I haven't heard anybody that has seen it that has enjoyed it. So
I haven't talked to anyone who's actually seen it. So
I know DC is doing its best to bury it. So
yeah. Oh wow! Look at this.
Ollie's?
No, Amazon.
Yeah.
Very
It was
nice.
marked down. It was essentially, I think it was less than half price. I don't remember.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I now have the Cap shield, and now I have Captain Carter shield.
Did you cut anybody in half with it?
No,
Why? Why, Curtis?
It begins.
No. It's okay. It's okay.
I'm just wondering.
No. That was a fair question. No,
Yeah.
I didn't cut anybody half because A, I can't do this all day, and B, I don't. I can do this probably all day. I don't know. My chair kind of sucks, so a couple hours.
Amazon cut the price in half.
You could
That's true.
you could use that shield as a background for a show and have a bunch of people ask you why you use that particular background, that particular
I
shield.
could.
All right, who's next? Am I next? Because I'm in the first position.
Probably. I got nothing. So
Okay. Well, I've got two figures here. One I'm really happy with. The other one I've got some major gripes with. So I'll start with the one I'm happy with. And I've talked to Jesse about this, but this is the new McFarlane Wonder Woman, and this thing is fucking phenomenal.
very
Like
shiny.
Like this is the in when I think of Wonder Woman, like this is the outfit I think of. Like he's put out, I don't know, like 20 different Wonder Woman now with skirts and pants and everything else. But like this is the Wonder Woman that I think of. And a lot of the ones that have come out have like the plastic lasso that's like all wrapped up. Like it's not an actual lasso. It's just like a plastic piece.
Mhm.
This is actually like, rope that's, wrapped around. So I like that aspect of it. Comes with a few different hands. So I just think this thing is fantastic for the price point of the McFarlanes. Like this is going right on my Justice League set, and I'm super pleased with that. The other figure I got that I was really excited for, and I've got some major problems with, is Deluxe Mondo Skeletor.
Ooh.
It looks fantastic. I love the way that it looks. I'm very happy with the battle armor. I've wanted a battle armor version of this for a while, so I'm happy with the overall look. But I've got there's some spots on his arm, which I don't know if this is going to show up here. There's some spots on his arm where there's some scratches, and it's not really showing up. The armor is held together like these tiny magnets, and it keeps, anytime that you move him, it pops apart. It does not want to hold together, so that sucks. The chest emblem, it has a little teeny tiny magnet on it,
Right.
and just like the He-Man one was, on the non-damaged version of the battle armor, they put the magnet in backwards. So when you tried to put it on his chest, instead of holding it to his chest, it was repelling it. So I had to dig in there with an X-Acto knife, dig all around it, try to pry it out with some needle nose pliers, put it back in, glue it in order to get it to work the way it's supposed to. So that was fucking annoying because I really wanted the non-battle damage version on there. And I had to do some major work to get that to do. And so even I just put the armor back together, and you can see right here, it's starting to split again, or maybe you can't see. I don't know. But
So you're upset your battle damage Skeletor has battle damage?
he just, the armor is not holding together. And I didn't have any of these problems with the He-Man.
Yeah.
So it's not like this is all new tooling. Well, I mean, it is new tooling because it's different shape and stuff, but it's not a new concept as far as them using magnets to hold this shit together. So why there's so many QC issues with it not wanting to hold together, with the magnet on the label being backwards, with the arms scraping up against the armor to where it's taking paint off of the arms. I've also got a spot on the leg, which probably not going to show here, where the skirt piece was stuck to the leg, and when I pulled it off, it pulled some of the paint off of the leg. So it's nitpicky bullshit, I will admit, because overall, like I said, the look is good. But when you spend, $260 on a figure, I wouldn't say that I expect it to be perfect, but I expect it not to have, double digit shit wrong with it that I have to, as a customizer, try to fix in order to get it to work right. So just a little disappointed. Like I said, overall, I'm going to throw this in the case. I got a cool, he does have good articulation, which is something that kind of started with the trap jaw, maybe the He-Man a little bit. Because the old ones, you would have it in a static pose and you would need the stand and everything like that just to even get it to work. So I can actually get him in a good pose. I'll put him in my display. He'll look great. And I'll just have to leave it the F alone. But, so just overall looks, like I said, I love the overall look, but disappointed in the QC issues for a $260 figure. So there you go. I think this is a step backwards from the trap jaw. The trap jaw, I think, was by far their best quality control figure. Like I had absolutely zero problems with the trap jaw. The articulation was better than any of the ones that I've seen previously. And I don't know how to move this back. That's not it. There we go. So I think this is a step backwards from the trap jaw. And like I said, I'm just a little disappointed because I was so looking forward to this figure. So there you go.
What about his dragon? Where's his dragon?
I didn't even pull out his dragon.
What? That's the best part of it. That's the thing that almost got me to buy that figure.
I'll give you the dragon because I only bought this for the battle armor. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Like this is not like the He-Man one that I bought. I liked all three versions.
Yeah.
I liked the regular. I liked the Thunder Punch. I liked and I do switch it from time to time. This one is only ever going to be in the battle armor. So
yeah, it's actually funny you mentioned that because I've had my one He-Man has been the Thunder Punch since I got him, and the other one has been on Battle Cat and the regular armor. And I was just thinking I need to swap him out for the battle armor because it's been a while. So
yeah. I don't know what it is about this. There's something, I guess, something nostalgic about. I do recall opening mine as a kid, like as a present, and just seeing that bat logo, something about it, and then the black trim with the rivets and stuff, like something about that just was so metal to me. Like it was so like badass.
That was my default Skeletor. Like
yeah.
I think I probably had a regular one, but I always used the battle armor. That was He-Man. I'd switch back and forth, but Skeletor, like I almost always used the battle armor.
Yeah.
If it wasn't that, it was Dragon Blaster. Like I love Skeletor's alternate armors.
But seriously, I'm not going to use the dragon thing at all. So if it, and I've modified it. Like a lot of times I'll try to keep these things as like good a shape as possible. So if I do have to sell them later on, they're complete. But I've had to tear apart the logo to switch the magnet around. It's already got scratches in the arms and legs. So I'm not, and I don't ever see myself selling this one anyway. So I'm not worried about it. So therefore, like I said, if you want the dragon thing, I'll shoot you away or bring it to MesquiCon. So
yes.
So there you go.
You get your Skeletor?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
You are Sean, I think.
I didn't hear the Sean
You didn't
part.
say
I
Sean.
just heard you get your Skeletor.
Sean.
That's all I heard. I got it, but now I'm afraid of it.
Have you not opened yours yet?
I have not had a chance between work today and keeping an eye on the kids with the Switch situation. This has been like, okay, I'll get to it probably this evening. So, but yeah, came in today and my kids had to patronize me when I got it in. I pulled it out of the box and like, ooh, and I go, you guys don't care. They're like, nope, and I go, you suck. Simple as that. So. But yeah, I do want to. I want to honestly. I got more excited when I saw this morning they had the DHL shipment thing, and they're like, by the way, it's like down the street. I'm like, I'll run and meet it. Come on, bring it. Like I had no idea it was even in Pennsylvania. It was in Columbus, Ohio yesterday. So yeah,
well, that's cool. You got anything else?
No, that's why I'm afraid of it now.
Okay.
It's the only thing I got this week.
Well, let me know.
Unfortunately,
Yeah,
I
let me know
have
what
seen
yours
other
looks
people.
like. I mean, it's one of those things where, you know, even like with the He-Man, when people are having problems with the waist, there were other people that had zero problems. So I'm hoping that I just got the unlucky draw on this one, and that the other ones are really good. And I know Mondo's a good enough company that if I reached out to them, you know, they would take care of me. But like it's all like it. If he had like the 2 left arms or something like that, like that's something I would reach out to them about. Or if like the head was defective or something, like, but scratches and this, like, it's all nitpicky shit. Like I don't know, I'm not gonna reach out to them for that. But I hope yours is in good shape. And what are your plans with it? Are you going to switch between the different armors, or do you have one of those that really sticks out to you?
I want this one to be with the cape and everything for right now, because for me that's like every time I've seen somebody take the photo of it looking like that, I'm like, that's why I bought this. But then just the dragon is also like, oh my god, you know. So like I figure I'm gonna have it with the cape, the dragon right next to him on the shelf. And then I ended up doing another one when Panther was on pre-order, and that one I'm going to do the battle armor and the Terror Claws on him. So then I have it
Terror Claws and battle armor together.
Yes,
nice.
That's definitely how I want to handle that one, because just the fact that Terror Claws are like the Bruce Timm artwork from the mini comics instead of looking like the figure, which I was never like the biggest fan of that figure anyway. But when they look the way they look here, where it looks, they're like talons now, you know, like these metal talons coming out of his hands. It's like, yeah, that works. So that's the plan for right now. But I did see a post on one of the Mondo groups today where there was someone else calling out the same problem with the battle armor, where he was trying to connect it and the magnets, or there was something about it where it wouldn't completely connect on one side for him. So I don't know if I want to call it what it was, because last year we had the same thing happen with He-Man with different aspects, but there were enough things there.
Yeah.
And it's the whole, I was expecting this next year. And it's the whole, did they rush this one out again? Because people got He-Man rushed out, and then, you know, he's popping apart at the waist, or that inner piece was completely disconnecting from the rest of the figure. And I know you fixed yours, and Tomas Rydberg actually did the same thing. He has a video that he fixed his because of the inner part actually coming completely out from the figure, the torso. And I mean, there were plenty of other people in groups that had that problem. So I almost have that, like, if you want the deluxe, get the deluxe for the extras, but then get another one later on if you're able to, so that you have the figure complete then. You know?
I mean, this is actually not a good representation, because I dug around the magnet, so it actually kind of looks a little bigger than it is. But that magnet is like the size of a pinhead. Like it is so small.
That looks smaller than the He-Man one.
Yeah, it's ridiculously small. And then it's, you know, it's glued in there. So if they put it in backwards, it is considerable amount of work to try to get that thing switched around. And you know, if you're worried that your factory is going to flip around and put the wrong side outward on it, then all you have to do is, instead of putting a magnet in the chest and a magnet in this, make one of them a metal piece. So it doesn't matter which side of the magnet you have on, it's still going to stick.
Yeah.
So I just, it's terrible execution. I think it's terrible design. But like I said, I love the look. It's just a little disappointed with the execution of it. So
I almost miss with classics. It was a plate, and at least if they would have done that where it clips in, at least, because I don't know. I'm two minds about the magnets where it holds it together on the figure, because at least that way you're not breaking a clip if you keep on taking it on and off.
And it's the quick. You're just,
the other thing is I don't know. I'm not, like, it sticks out from the chest.
I was gonna say,
you know,
I feel like the He-Man armor, like, it had more of like a spot to go in.
Yeah.
Whereas this looks like it's just sitting on top of the armor, which is interesting.
It's definitely sitting on the top. And so
The contour isn't there.
What you were talking about with the classics, though, was nice because you actually took the armor off, you put that plate in there, and then you put it together. So it was actually inside. So even though it's not spinning like the old ones that we had, it at least had that same look to it. This does not have that look. Like this clearly, because it's sitting on top, was never going to spin. So I don't know. I wish it was designed a little bit differently and executed a little differently, but still having this in a 1/6 scale is cool. And once I put it in the display case, like it does look badass across from He-Man. I got He-Man, drawing his sword, and I've got this one with the sword, and because my other one, I've got the original Skeletor with the Havoc staff, and so this one I gave the sword to, which for some reason is the way that I always did it when I was a kid. Like Battle Armor Skeletor always had the sword, and the regular Skeletor had the Havoc staff. I'm not sure why I did that because I look back to see. I'm like, did this, like in the vintage one, did it only come with the sword? And no, it came with both. It came with a sword and a Havoc staff. But for some reason, I don't know. I always use the sword on this one. So,
well, the variant to me always had I always had the Havoc staff with my traditional the regular Skeletor, but then you give whatever the weapon you couldn't put with the original one to the next version. Then, just like at first I was the axe and the shield guy for He-Man, but then once I got battle armor, I'm like, oh no, he gets the axe now because that actually looks awesome with battle armor in that way.
Yeah, and that's how I have mine. I've got the battle armor holding the axe and the shield. Because that's really cool looking, but. And I always hated the vintage Havoc staff too, because it would get that curve over time, and
happens to the best of us.
Middle age, it sucks.
Are you gonna keep the
I'm not giving you my
piece on him though, Curtis?
The what?
The loincloth, the skirt. Are you gonna keep that on him?
Yeah. What else would I do?
Well, because technically the battle armor didn't have that.
Oh.
So I was just curious.
You're right. I don't know. I think it looks cool like that. I may take it off and see what it looks like. I didn't even think about
I was just curious. I know, because you were so big on the OG one. I was just curious if that had.
It was really the torso part for the OG, but yeah, I'll take a look. I might pop that off and see if I like that look better. Yeah, it's a good call. I'm not sure. And you know what? I need to open the box back up because I really didn't even take time to look at the Terror Claws part. I was just because I was in the middle of I opened it yesterday while all this other shit was going on. In fact, my wife and daughter, I think, were kind of getting irritated with me because they're sitting there mopping up the floor, and I'm waiting for callbacks from plumbers, and I'm putting together my Skeletor, and so they're trying to figure out like how to save the flooring in the kitchen, and I'm like, yeah, there's fucking magnets backwards, and I can't, yeah. So I don't know that they were too pleased with that.
See, I can't do stuff like that. I got weird stuff about when to open things and everything, you guys know, and like, yeah, if I'm like in a foul mood, I will just leave stuff because I'm like, I don't want it tied in my mind.
I usually keep like a stack of stuff that needs to be opened by my front door, and I try to open like 2 things a week for this show specifically. But this is one that when it showed up, like I was so excited for it, I had to open it regardless of what was going on. So, my house could have been flooded full of shit and I still would have been opening up Skeletor. So, but
love it.
It looks like Sean's opening it up as we speak.
Yep.
So beautiful. We got a live opening from Sean Scavarni here.
I'm muting though because I know how much the crinkling of the plastic drives people nuts. So carry on. I'll be with you in a moment.
I love the crinkle.
Well, speaking of Sean, I did shoot something in our little group chat today that I saw that I hope Sean gets involved in. That McFarlane's doing like a contest right now for artists. I saw it on his Instagram where he is having people submit art and some lucky winners are going to get their art put into the Spawn series. So,
Interesting.
Did you guys take a look at that at all?
I forgot about it until you mentioned it right now. So no, I did not.
No, all right.
I did.
And what did you think, Jesse?
I think it's hilarious listening to him talk now compared to just the way. I don't mean like I'm not making fun of his like speech pattern, but just how he used to make fun of like the guys at Marvel. When he left Marvel and they walked across the street to DC, like him and all the Image guys. I feel like if he could like offer, it's like, oh, we're gonna put your cover. You're gonna do a cover contest, and it'll be on Spawn and Scorched and King Spawn, a Gunslinger Spawn, and then that's it. You're with Image Studios, and I just kept waiting for him to say something like, and then you get a gold watch. Just because like he made a big deal about not getting a gold watch if you stayed at Marvel for so long or something. I don't remember, but
my favorite McFarlane is when he says figures, because he says figures like FIGGERS figures.
Yeah.
We got some new figures coming. I just love it every time he fucking says it.
What's up, Oz?
So what are your initial thoughts, Sean?
I've looked. I don't see any paint scratches at the moment or anything like that. There's nothing where it was having to get pulled away with the loin piece. I'm pretty wowed by it, to be completely honest. I'll go over it a little bit more here and there, but yeah, this is working for me.
Cool.
So I'm sorry.
Let me know if your 2 magnet pieces work in there.
I'm gonna look at that actually.
Yeah.
And so the thing I was gonna say was they've discovered a new special feature. It's flinging bat Skeletor or whatever. It's good. But
just have him hold it like a batarang, Curtis. That's
basically.
What was weird was my damage, because it comes with 2 plates. It comes with the non-damage and the one that has like 1 damage line. Yeah. And the damage line one, that one did work fine. And they didn't put in like the double damage. Like, usually they're like, well, at least on the old one and even the classics, I think they had
it's all 3
line of damage and then the 2 lines of damage. It just has 1 or none.
And I think that's what they did with the He-Man too. I think they only did the 2, not the 3rd extra damage. So real quick, Dusty. Yeah, I finally got an actual desk down here. So the couch I usually sit on is right there, and now I'm facing the wall that had like the Snake Mountain poster on it. So this is the other side of the room that you guys never got to see before. So you got all my classics back there in the Detolfs and my Snake Mountain, my Gray Skull, and then I got my Mythic dioramas right here where you guys still can't see. So.
And he had a bunch of chips, but we made him move those.
I got those over there. we got
the chips. He's going to start rolling around in them.
Thank you for tuning into OffWorld, brought to you by Frito-Lay.
See if you can get us a sponsorship.
That'd be great. Yeah. Or we could get Manscaped, and then I could shave my head every week. That'd be fine. So one thing, there's a couple things I noticed in general, though, based on like I've had how many Mondos now in the last 2 years, I want to say, or year
5
actually
7 13.
What was it? I
don't know. I thought we were guessing.
They've been coming out pretty
5.
quick.
5 so far, plus now 6 today. 6 today though. And the one thing I noticed is they are pulling back on certain things that have me going, okay, then like typically when you got a Mondo and you had the big cardboard box shipper, you open up that shipper, and then inside they have the corner pieces so that it's protected. When I opened mine, it was just hard cardboard now. They're not doing the corner pieces, which surprised me. Then I opened up the box itself for the window, and there's no more of that
the paper.
The paper there to make it have that collector feeling. And there isn't even this is Skeletor's covered in this now, and it's not the wrapping that paper around the figure and all that, and it feels a little less like it's a it's a boutique item, and it's starting to feel a little more like these are just
a little more Funko.
Hasbro
maybe?
cranking them out in that way. And there is a part of me where I'm like, I was kind of nervous based on that to go, okay, they're changing some of these things up. Is there going to be a problem with this? Because we already had problems previously. But the one thing that I will completely agree with Curtis, this is weird because He-Man, at least this piece here that Curtis already pointed out, but this piece was right here where the magnet is, and there's like a rectangle. That was pretty much close to how big the He-Man magnet was for the H. And now there's this, like Curtis said, it's like a pinhead of a magnet stuck in this thing. And now instead, there is a cutout in the middle so that, and it's got even like a little side cut. So it sits in there a certain way. So like here, there's a little bit of like a diagonal cut. And it sits in there a certain way, so there isn't that feeling like every time I pick up the Battle Armor He-Man one, it literally just slides around and falls off. It's happened to me at least every time I've taken them off a Battle Cat and put them back on again. And it's like, okay, they did that, which is okay, I guess, but it feels weird that they're adapting things as they go, and it's like, that would have been nice to retrofit aspects of that to the He-Man, and now they're doing it here. And it just, I don't know, that kind of bugs me in some ways. I mean, I know you're trying to make things better each time, but I almost wish they would have had something figured out differently between just two figures like this within a year. But I mean, that's my complaint, and that's a very, like Curtis said, first world problems. Basically, I can't really sit here and complain because that's a design choice they did. But it is a little weird that his has to be different than He-Man's was, or whatever. But
what about the actually just like closing the two shells and pulling apart? Does it feel like yours is pretty solid, or is it?
I mean, it took me a little bit to get it going, and now that I got it going, I'm not going to take this Skeletor apart to do that. The next one is the one I'm going to do that with, and then I'll figure out if it's a problem. But I mean, even here, there's like elements of like it's not 100% closed. There's like a little gap I can see already. So
yeah, see, whereas the He-Man one, that's solid.
Yeah.
And then like I said, the H really fits like right to the armor.
Yeah,
whereas,
it's not it doesn't look as much on top.
Right. Whereas your guys is like, you can tell it's like setting up there.
Can you show the back of the H?
Yeah, that's what I was just about to do. So yeah, it's in on here. It's actually like it's like in there.
It's
not
about the same size as
it's
what
that whole rectangle. It's not like the little pin.
Right. Yeah. It's not a little hole. It's the whole rectangle, and it's flush. It looks like there's a bump right there on your guys's.
Yeah. There's like an indent that goes inside. Yeah.
Right. So I think that's the big problem. Is
rectangle damn near killed him.
Okay.
And
it is funny though that it's like they didn't just do it for the front. They did it the whole way around with this one. All of the pieces are these pin magnets all throughout it. It's not like they have the same, because He-Man's were all rectangular and they had more room. There was at least like there's literally 3 times the amount of space to connect that armor compared to literally a pinprick almost.
And I felt like the He-Man ones, and maybe it's just because they were bigger, but they definitely felt like more solid. The magnets felt much stronger.
Yeah, I'm like just letting it go near it, and it's pulling it. Like you can hear it. It's it wants to be together.
Yeah, see, mine it's like you have to almost touch them together for it to actually connect them. Yeah, so it's like compared to He-Man, where like you said, you could hold them a little apart and then boom, they're popping in.
So I don't know if they were just trying to save money and go with smaller magnets, or they're trying something new. I don't know. I'm not a fan. I also noticed since you're talking about differences like with Funko taking over, did you notice this one shipped directly from China, like through DHL and not because normally in the past we've gotten like they come to the States and then they come to us like via FedEx.
Yep.
And these came straight from China.
It used to go to Texas because Scott Baker would always get his right away because he's like right down the street from them.
Yeah, and this time you got to see the whole. It's clearing customs now, and it's stuck in customs for 2 weeks, and all this. And I mean, for anybody in the chat that hasn't gotten theirs yet, this is not something that I'm saying.
Rectangle magnets in this economy. Jeez.
Exactly. Yeah,
it's true.
But this is definitely not a figure that I'm going to sit here and say, oh, it's a horrible figure. But you're noticing things in that transition, like Matt's saying with, now they're Funko owned and everything. And there's just little things you're starting to notice that it doesn't make me concerned, but it just makes me go, oh, it's going that way now compared to where
and the surprise for me with this was that Trapjaw was the last one we got, and it is so good. Like it is to me, that's the best quality control one they've done. So I was sitting here thinking, I'm throwing shots at Dorklayer and doing my part to, stick it to people that were all worried about the Funko thing, because Trapjaw was so good and Battle Cat was so good, and then this one kind of takes a step backwards in my opinion. So I don't know. I was feeling pretty good about the whole Funko Mondo thing, but it's also one of those where it's like, how much of that stuff did Mondo already have like in the works? So I don't know. I guess we'll see. Time will tell, how these things go in the future. They do look amazing, and I've seen the next few that are supposed to come out with the Orko and the Tila, and they look great. So I guess we'll see.
I like how with the Orko, instead of bringing down the price point for a smaller figure, they include extra figures, so that they can keep it up there. I'm like, I like the little Filmation figures that they're coming in, and they look like they're gonna have some minor articulation. But like, if they had released just their Orko at a reduced price for it being a smaller figure, like it would have been an easy buy for me. Now I'm really gonna have to think about it.
There's only 2 figures that I feel like I need to complete my Mondo collection. And I want to see if you guys can guess what they are.
Zodak.
Who would be the 2 characters that I would need to complete my collection? That is not it.
Really?
That is not it.
2. Well, then who the hell else would you need? Because Zodak's, well, not Zodak himself, but
wait, how about Zodak? Okay.
Yeah, change the pronunciation.
The C or the K?
Yeah.
Damn it, I said it with a K. He wants the C.
Well, I think we can all say it's not Tila. We know it's not Tila.
No. And I'll even give you guys a hint. Like when I started running into space issues with these, I realized that for me, if I just had He-Man and Battle Cat and then Skeletor and his goons, like that's enough for me. With that in mind,
Triclops.
Triclops is one of them for sure.
Okay, I got one.
Yep.
Spikor.
Nope. Evelyn would be the other one.
So you can't stand Tila, but Evelyn is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think when it comes to Skeletor's, main baddies, like you got Merman, Beastman, Trapjaw, Triclops, and Evelyn. Like that's the main ones that we would see on a regular basis. Obviously, you got other ones that were mixed in from time to time, but those are the 2 that I want to see. I want to see Evelyn and I want to see Triclops. So
I think the only that's cool. Fucking awesome.
That is cool.
This is amazing. It's not as articulated as I was hoping, but it's freaking cool for what it is.
Just it's got articulation.
It's got at the wrists and at the ankles, and then you can move the arms and legs up and down, but they also go out.
I can't even believe that I didn't even pull that out to look at it. Like I was so distracted yesterday. So
like the tail does move at the bottom. It goes side to side pretty much, but the head will actually move up and down and all over. You can turn it, and the jaw works. So
Jesse looks like he's Sean as we're discussing Clone Wars.
Yeah, I know. I feel bad for him tonight. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm fine. I'm still here. I'm listening.
Is that dice
had no
you're rolling
idea
down there? What's going on?
I had no idea what to guess because I don't know what you had. I knew you got rid of some, so I don't remember what figures you had in your collection. And I don't know the Mondo line enough to know which ones you hadn't come out.
Yeah, it's just those two that they haven't made yet. And like if they do Evelyn, I don't want the yellowish Evelyn. Don't give me the yellow bullshit Evelyn. Give me the, regular like flesh tone Evelyn. So
I did want to throw out there. I know Oz was talking about the Tommy Hodges who sculpted it. The sculpt's amazing. Don't get me wrong. Like, and J Mac, I know you're still excited for it. Like, these are definitely we have a YouTube show, so we're gonna pick on it. Like, I mean, they're. I don't think any of this is like make or break. Like, Curtis is not gonna snap this thing in half right now.
No, I mean I would say right now it's probably my second or third favorite one, like just in terms of overall look. I just don't. I'm not happy with the magnet situation and some of the minor scratching and stuff, but overall it looks freaking awesome, man. It's badass. It's just not as cool as Trapjaw was. Trapjaw was so good. So
I gotta agree with J Mac. When that Flock Panther comes out, that might be hard for me to resist.
Same.
I think the only thing I really need would be as if they release a Swiftwind. Like I would have to. Maybe Sorceress. But I'm pretty good with where.
All right, let me ask you this, Curtis. If I held off and didn't get the Tila because it's weird and creepy, what about Sorceress?
I just think like here's my thing.
Can I answer that question?
It depends. It depends if it's somebody like if you didn't collect any of the X-Men, but you got Rogue, I don't have any problem with it because you talk about Rogue all the time. I've never heard you talk about anything Masters of the Universe at all. So paying $260 for somebody that I know loves Mythic Legions and has only ever bought one all-in, spending that much money on a character for a show that you never talk about and you don't collect seems really fucking weird to me. But that being said, it's your money and it's your collection. You do whatever the hell you want.
Well,
I have a ton of Masterverse stuff.
Yeah, he does.
I don't talk about it as much because I can't hold a candle to you guys to talk about He-Man and Master stuff. So like, I know if I dip my toe into it, like for the past 35 minutes, I haven't had much to contribute here, and I'm totally fine with that. Like, I'm not complaining, but like, like I said, I was just like, would it be less weird if it was Sorceress since she lives by herself? I don't think not buying the creepy vibe.
No, I think that even like if you bought Trapjaw, if you bought Triclops, if you bought any one of those people, if you bought one Masters figure and it's not Skeletor or He-Man, it's a little odd unless you really love that character and you talk about them all the time. That's what I'm saying. It's not the fact that it's Tila herself. Now, I will say that, and I've gone back and I've had this conversation with a few people that the Filmation Tila and even like the Golden Books and stuff was not, she was not as detestable. But the 2000X Tila is the one that sticks with me. That she is just annoying as fuck and like feels, she feels like she's entitled to talk down to the prince, which she has no right to do, and is just a total bitch the whole show. And so I can't stand the character because of that portrayal of it. But that's me, whatever. But
okay.
Yeah, that's it. It would be like if all of a sudden I just bought, I don't know, something from your Vox Machina. I bought one of those figures.
I'd be super happy because it's like, hey, Curtis likes something I love. I'm all for it.
If you've noticed, Curtis's mind does not work like the rest of ours.
I will say that Tila looks fucking amazing, and if size wasn't an issue, I would be getting all of these. I so wish that Mondo could do these in 7-inch scale. If they could do these in 7-inch scale, I would have every single figure, every single Matubi. Like this is the best line if this was 7 inches. At 12 inches, you've got to pick and choose.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, even if it was 8 inches or something, because I kind of like the idea that they stick out some, and you can they draw your eye in because they're a different scale. Even
Right.
I mean, but this scale is definitely a shelf killer. There's no way around that.
Yeah.
Here's one other thing I noticed. Did not catch this at first.
the
How the
base.
heck are we getting these bases now? This is the first one to have this base. Where is this all along? Like, this could have been a great base for everybody, because this is more what I want to see out of a Masters of the Universe base instead of that M. But it's like, I get, okay,
The problem
Mondo
is
Master.
that you don't need the bases now. Like, you
I
used to
know,
need them on
that's-
every single figure, and now you know, and you got the crappy. I may actually use that base with my old Skeletor.
That makes sense.
Because those old ones do not want to stand. Like, the knees and the feet are just, they're not good.
Like, literally, it's, again, first world problems. It's a great base. I'm not complaining, but there's a consistency thing. I feel like one of those people that are an in-box collector, and out of nowhere they changed the look of the whole thing and they redesigned the packaging, and now I'm like, well, what? You know, like, what the heck? But I mean, this. I can't get over this. This Havoc stuff is freaking amazing. It's heavy.
Even the harness on that Skeletor, like the original armor, it looks a lot better than the first version that they did. Like, I may switch out that armor on my old Skeletor, because I was going to just leave my old Skeletor as is, but yeah, it looks really good.
I love how the bones actually are coming off of the armor. They literally look, it's like, this is how it would be if you used real bones to make this harness, you know? And the other thing I love is back here, you have the work back there too for the spine, and it's like little things that we had on the figures, like the beak, you know, like the monster face with the beak here on his belt. They even like went in and did their own Mondo way of doing that, which I think works too. So.
And I love that they included the Alcala head if you want that version as well. And like, the sculpt details are phenomenal. No issues with those whatsoever.
Yeah, so. And then it'll be like a whole nother beast just to get this hooded one on, I'd imagine, and because that's a cloth hood you can put on them, because this is the plastic one for right now and stuff. So that'll be interesting to get that sorted out. But
shit, I didn't even notice that either. Like, I need to go back and look at everything else in that box. I missed that as well.
Yeah, because all right, let me get that open real quick, because I'm pretty sure that
I think with the battle armor, the vinyl one probably is a better fit anyway.
I don't know, that cloth looked pretty badass on there.
Here's the thing: the cloth is 2 pieces. That's the hood, and that's the cape. So, and the cape,
right? You can have the cloth hood without the cape.
Yeah, I did not realize that until just now. So, and then, yeah, I mean, this is going to be fun.
I actually like I call it the movie inspired head. I know it's not quite Langella, but it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have many complaints. I just have more like, why did they do it this way? But I mean, let me get those
none of my complaints are around the look. Really, it's just about the QC. So and the small tiny magnets. So, but you were definitely taking more time to look at the other things in the box than I did. Yeah,
that's sweet.
Is that light piping, or it's just?
No, it's just well painted. It's the paint being metallic looking.
Okay, nice.
But yeah, it definitely, it opens up and everything. This would be more my 2000X head, even though it doesn't have the fangs on it. So, yeah, I mean,
the Uncle Skeletor head.
The Uncle's. I like it.
I pulled this up a second ago, but from Oz, there's Herb Brian Flynn that they're doing vac metal magnetized armor. Here's what I'll say about that. Like I've talked enough about Silverhawks, but have you seen any updates at all on any of the Silverhawks lately?
Well, I actually was kind of hoping to bring up Super 7 in general tonight because I know it's something we've kind of talked privately about it. Well, like, what the hell's going on with this company? Like,
I don't know, and that's what, kind of what I'm getting at. Like they did the whole vac metal thing. There was backlash from some people.
Yeah.
Some guy broke a figure or something. But then like none of the other waves, like there haven't been any updates as far as when they're coming out. They haven't shown any new waves. They talked about like Copper Kid and his bike and all that, but they haven't done any of those. They haven't like solicited those for sale. Like since the whole do they own the property kind of thing, they haven't done anything with that. And then this holiday season, not only Silverhawks but all these other licenses they have, you saw these huge discounts of stuff that was going for $55, $65, now all of a sudden selling for 25, 30.
Yeah.
And I'm not seeing anything really new coming from them.
No.
So
and the places that they're showing up at Walmart, I was at Best Buy the other night before Christmas, and they had Mugen Man and Slash and a bunch of GI Joes. Like,
yeah, the only thing new I've heard coming about from them is they're talking about like the O-ring GI Joes, which seems like nobody really gives a shit about, at least from what I can tell.
Oh yeah, bring that up. And they've got the mothership is
that didn't fund.
Oh, it's done now?
It's done and it didn't fund.
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know if they're having problems or
they canceled some next generation figures.
Yep.
They were supposed to do, and that had already been solicited and sold. People had done the pre-orders for.
Yeah, I mean, maybe people are finally done with their shit. I don't know. I mean, I love Silverhawk so much that I don't care. Brian Flynn could come into my house and knock me down and stick it in my bum, and I would still buy Silverhawks figures because I love the brand that much.
Why?
That's how much I love the brand.
You could have said that a bunch of different ways.
I know. I tried to PC it up as much as I could. That's why I said bum. But I mean, like, other than that, like, if it's stuff that I'm not like in love with the property, but I just kind of enjoy it, like I've done buying turtles from them. I haven't bought any new Thundercats from them. All this other stuff that they do that I don't care about, like Simpsons and things like that. Like, yeah, I'm not, even when they were on sale, like I didn't buy any of that stuff that went on sale.
I almost pulled the trigger on the Mouser pack. It was like $19.
That was a good deal for 5 Mousers for $19.
5 Mousers, yeah. Even then, I'm like, I don't really need it. Like,
yeah.
And I just don't see how you pre-order anything from them anymore. How can I sit here and go, yes, I'm going to pre-order that for $60 after seeing the freaking blowout fire sale over the past 2 months?
Well, that's like buying an army builder from Classified right now. Like, why would I do that when odds are it's going to end up at Ross, for $5, $6? If it's like a specific character that I feel like I need that I'm not, maybe then, but I don't know.
Even the Disney Ultimates, they've been having trouble moving. Like, it's, I was looking up the Cobra Mothership. He didn't even come fucking close. He needed
it was far.
He needed 4,000 and he got 1,600. Like,
yeah, that's not. And I think here's the thing with that. You've got your people that like reaction figures. There's certain people that collect those. And the people that don't like reaction figures really hate reaction.
Yeah.
So when you're doing that mothership and you do it as a reaction mothership, granted it's 3.75 and people can use it with their old school Joes and things like that. But as soon as you attach the name reaction to it, if you're not a reaction fan, you immediately think bullshit. Like this is crap. This is, you know, I don't want anything to do with this because this is bargain brand bullshit. So I think that has part to do with it. The other thing is I don't know too many people that are collecting 3.75 anything anymore. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't have any insider information. You know who might is Chris Kelly. That's what we should get him on to kind of talk about some Super 7 stuff.
We should,
because he knows some folks. But yeah, I don't know. It's not looking good. I'll tell you that for just an outsider's point of view. I'm not seeing anything that tells me that company is going strong right now. No.
And the thing is, they spent so long buying up all these properties that they're paying licensing on. And so, like, if these waves are not selling, you know, it's really easy to go into the red really quick because the property owner gets paid no matter what. Yeah, like, they're taking their money up front, so you're already in the hole to start with. It's a dangerous game. Sean's in his Skeletor.
Yeah,
I don't really have a lot to say about it.
I don't know if for me, like
I was saying, I don't know much about how these companies do business.
I think you got a delay, Jesse. Sorry.
You good, Jesse? Go ahead. You good?
Do I have a delay?
Yeah,
I think so. Maybe go out and come back in.
I love that he had a delay and he was
it's like watching someone with a stroke.
He was irritated at other people for stepping on him when he had a delay.
Sean, what do you think while Jesse's sorting?
The only Super 7 stuff that I was really excited about was when they did the Ultimates for Masters when they took the license over. Since then, I know the QC stuff has definitely marred a lot of that line and a lot of those figures and a lot of the collectors who wanted those things. And it feels like the only ones I think that have gone fairly well probably are Thundercats, but then they had the issues of they're changing up how Chitara looks, and then people aren't happy with certain aspects of that. And I think the Turtles is probably one of the few where I didn't hear hardly any problems. Most people were really happy about them.
Well, until the latest waves.
Yeah, the big problem was when Playmates, there was some sort of squabble between them and Playmates on whether they can make them continue to look like the old toys. And then they did that Rat King that was like more of like the comic version, and people really lost their shit about that. And now I don't even know that version of Rat King's coming out.
No, actually,
the new version.
Yeah, now that you mentioned it, they have solicited that. So it's the new Rat King, which is closer to a toy, but not like it was. Like those first waves were the toys in ultimate forms, which is why I bought what I bought from them. And if they're getting away from that, I was pretty much done anyways. But like that was the draw to that. It's like those are the Playmates toys. And yeah, they got the Rat King. They've got that all new Leonardo in like a samurai like get up with like a trash can hat. And I forget who else is in that wave. Like, yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. Jesse, now that you're back and hopefully without a delay, what do you think?
And we weren't trying to step on you, Jesse. Sorry about that.
No. I know. I didn't realize I had the delay. I just kept talking at the same time as Sean and not realizing it. I don't know how these companies work. I have no insight. You know, the most I can base it on is what I hear from the Horsemen and how they do stuff. And I know, you know, every business is going to be different, and we don't know the whole details on how they do stuff. But my thought is, if you can hear me, if I'm okay. I don't see the sales as on Big Bad and stuff is it's not directly a Super 7 problem. It will be a Super 7 problem because if their major distributor or retail site isn't putting as many orders in, you know, then that'll be a problem for them. But like they're already paid for it. Like when we buy stuff at the comic shop when I worked there, like that stuff was paid for when it came in. And DC could say Batman was sold out till the cows came home, but it just means they sold out their print run because they had 2 months to adjust numbers. They knew how many to print, blah, 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 blah. While every comic shop in the country might have had, you know, dozens of copies sitting on their shelf because, you know, for whatever reason. So, but I do see that, like I said, as a problem for them down the road because, you know,
well, because if you have that many Batman sitting there, copies left over, then next month you're not going to order as many Batman comics. Like, so same thing with Super 7 now. They're, you know.
Right. I mean, it's a little different, you know, because the comics you have to order. So, I mean, I was just kind of going.
No, I'm just saying, I'm agreeing with, like, you're right. Technically, this is the retailer taking a cut in their profit right now. But it's gonna have repercussions for Super 7.
But it also is an indicator of interest in those lines.
Right.
Well, I think they're trying to do. I think I don't want to say they got greedy, but I think they're trying to do too much too fast.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know, I know a lot of these companies, like their point is to sell stuff to people who need things, but like the market, the economy has shifted. You know, a bit over the last year, and it's going to take them a while to adjust. And I think some of these smaller companies are probably going to really feel that because they got on the ground running when everybody was having all that stimulus money and all that stuff coming in from COVID and all that stuff. And now, you know, food is ridiculously expensive compared to what it was 3 years ago. And I mean, the fact that, what's his name? The head guy at Hasbro said something about, you know, we're not competing with other toy companies because the people who buy our stuff, most of the people who buy our stuff are adults. We're competing for, you know, we're competing with like Nabrisco and Pampers, and like we're competing with like actual products that people need. And I was like, oh, that was really distasteful, you know. And then they laid off people, and then they laid off more people, and you know, all this other crap that keeps happening with Hasbro. But you know, I think, you know, it's the whole, what's his name? What's the guy? Icarus, the whole Icarus, you know, flew too close to the sun with wax wings. And, you know, I think the turtle line was great. But when they started I think reaction figures were fun when they were with Funko and they were like $12, but $20 for those figures is ridiculous.
I thought 12 was. That's one that needs to be like $5 in my opinion. But
if it was 1984, I totally agree with you. But like, just the licensing and the rights and all that stuff now, you know. But $20, no.
What gets me though in that pricing is you can find those superpower McFarlane figures for $10. And that was a GameStop I saw for $10, and GameStop's always marked up. So there's a part of me that's like, and I, you know, not splitting hairs on this one because as far as I'm concerned, I have no dog in this race or whatever. But you know, like if McFarlane can pull that off, how come Super 7 can't pull off, you know, a 750 reaction figure even or something along those? I mean, especially with the size they're doing, but it's the licensing, I'm sure. So,
well, this is their website right now. If you go to it, the open pre-orders that they currently have are these three. So they've got a Godzilla that's just over 8 inches tall. It's $85.
Yep.
So there's that. You've got this. Sorry, my screen's going crazy. You got this Toxic Crusader, $55. I mean,
Vintage Toy America, is that what is it? Like,
You don't remember Toxic Crusader?
no, I remember Toxic Crusader, but I don't remember him in a flag outfit.
Oh, I don't.
like.
Yeah, I don't know that.
That's what I mean.
But I mean, do we
one?
feel like this is not one that at some point is going to be $25-$30 at Big Bad Toy Store?
Yeah, if it even
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I can't see myself ordering directly from the company should be the cheapest price. And I can't see, even if I'm a Toxic Crusader lover, I can't see buying this from them at $55 because there's no way this thing is not going to sell for a cheaper amount at some point.
Well, and that's the thing too, because you can probably go on Big Bad Toy Store right now and get him for the same price.
Right.
'Cause I know that's what they did with the Turtles. It's like you can pre-order through Super 7 and pay higher shipping costs and wait longer, or you can get them for the same price at the same time through the retailers. So
and
it's
not
like,
have
well,
to pay
where's
until it comes in.
right? Where's the incentive? Like you said, it's been a long time since there's been an incentive to actually buy from Super 7, which they should be chasing that.
Yeah, I just looked it up. It is 50. Actually, it's $1 cheaper. It's 54. What is it here? It's 55. Sorry, it's a 1 cent. It's 54.99 through Big Bad Toy Store. So it's 1 cent cheaper through Big Bad, and you don't have to pay till it comes in.
And piled loot, so $4 shipping. I guarantee you, Super 7 will be at least $15 shipping.
Right. So why would you order directly from
That's what I'm saying.
It doesn't make sense. And then the last one they've got for pre-order right now is this turtle one that you were talking about. God, the screen is like bouncing around. Hold on a second. I got to go back up. There we go. So it's got the Mikey with the boombox. It's got Rat King. It's got the Leonardo with the trash can head or the waste basket or whatever that is, and Foot Clan. So this
battle
wave,
damaged foot soldier.
This wave is $220, which is $55 a piece.
And if you they did put incentive in. So if you pre-order it from them, you get that weapons pack that's in the middle. If you get all four.
Okay. But still, I mean, $55 a piece for these.
Right.
I guarantee these things are going to be cheaper than that at some point. So
absolutely.
I just don't know why you would order that. But like I said, like the only property I care about is Silverhawks, and there's been absolutely nothing. I don't even know at one point they had taken the Silverhawks off of their site.
I'd heard rumors that they had.
It doesn't look like it's on there. It looks like the only thing they've got is Toxic Crusaders, Godzilla, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But I know they got more than that. So
when I search for them, they do come up. So.
They do come up. Okay. Disney Ultimates. Like, who's buying that for $55? I don't know. Maybe there's somebody. This is cool, but I can't see spending $55 on this for the Robin Hood set.
Well,
right.
So. And that's one of the things I wanted to say earlier, when eventually you won't get these for cheaper because they won't make as many. So Big Bad Toy Store won't have a glut of stock in the back that they need to make room for other stuff coming in.
But I think it's a problem with the original price too, though. Like you're right. Yeah. If they don't order a bunch of it, then it's not going to go on sale and you're not going to get it for $25, $30. But I see a lot of people that like, that's the price they're willing to pay for these figures. They're not willing to pay $55.
Right.
So,
yeah. I mean, you got these guys for 37. Like, how can you go spend 55 on an inferior product?
Like, unless you're like I said, like with me with the Silverhawks. Like I loved Silverhawks as a kid. I'm like totally stuck by the nostalgia of it. So I'm going to buy those regardless. They could do he could come in and punch my mom in the face and I would still buy the Silverhawks because I need to have those figures. So if you're hit with the nostalgia bug, I get it. But you're right. Like if you see like the quality of a Mythic Legion figure, versus a Super 7 figure for the 37 versus $55. Like, it's night and day. It's not even close.
Right.
So yeah, Dorclair popped in here. He says, nope, I was all in on the Conan figures, but lately I can't stomach the retail price on these when so many figures go on clearance. So
yeah, and that's another line. They got Conan, they came out with a bunch and then just nothing. Like, that's the other problem. It's you get these.
who would pay 55 for a Snarf? Well,
I need Snarf. He's the only other
Snarf.
Thundercat I need.
for 55 though.
No, I'm gonna hold off and see if he goes on sale now.
Yeah.
Because they did release
But
him,
no.
right? Or they've announced him.
He's available now. He's available on Big Bad now.
Does he come with Snarf?
I will say
at
this,
least?
just for a not devil's advocate, but just to argue
Absolutely.
a point here that Super 7 versus Four Horsemen, I totally understand what you're saying, price point. I don't disagree with that. The only difference I see is original IP versus licensed characters.
Right.
So they're paying more to make them or to have those rights.
Right. I completely
Whereas-
agree. What I was saying is, for me, like, that's
Here-
like,
here's-
I don't care enough about the property Super 7 has.
Here's
Yeah.
where
To
I'll
pay that
throw
much.
I'll throw something out, and I kind of heard this Dorclair and them talking about this last night on his show. Jada Toys are doing licensed products, IP, Street Fighter. They're doing the cereal things, the Booberry, the Frankenberry. They're doing there was something else that I saw that they did. Oh, the Chester Cheetah and stuff.
Oh.
And they're doing these things for $20. Like, we're not talking, they're not, these things aren't in Walmarts and Targets to where they're selling, millions of these things. And so they could offer them a cheap price. They're selling them direct to customers. They're selling them via Amazon, via whatever. They're paying for the licensing, and they're still offering those figures that are much better. Like, if from what I've seen from the Jada Toys, like the Street Fighter figures, you look at the articulation on those versus a Super 7, much better. And they're offering it at 20 something bucks versus $55. And they're a small company too. So I think it can be done. I think that for the longest time, during COVID, people had extra money and they were throwing money at stuff that they were nostalgic for. And I think Brian Flynn made the most out of that and cashed in, and it's just not there anymore. The market isn't what it was.
And it's not just him. Like, I can't go to a store without seeing the Masters of the Universe Origins, Jitsu, Sorceress, Buzz Off, Naked Stratos wave. Like, same thing. They had the big 2020 boom, and they overproduced, and now we're cleaning up from that. So...
Well, there's also the other thing that a lot of people were joking about even like a year ago was, can Super 7 come up with a production line, like do a line where it looks exactly like what they said this is what it's supposed to look like? Because when you get it in hand, there's a 50-50 shot that you're not getting exactly what it looked like when you pre-ordered it, and then people are not happy about that either, which is not a good look. I mean, at least if you get something from the Horsemen, or hell, you get something from Hasbro even, or whatever, I'd say 9 out of 10 times it's going to look pretty close to what you saw originally, and you're going to be happy with it when you have it in hand. But like Super 7, when you got your hands, I mean, the Filmation Tila was definitely one where when I saw what people were getting versus what it was supposed to look like, it's like, I don't know why the hell you'd even spend $5 on that thing. It was horrible. Do you think they're almost to the point where they just need to release toys instead of doing the pre-orders? Like, just... I don't think that their business model lets that be a way they can handle the business, though. I'd be shocked, because like, even we've heard about that. Jeremy Gerard was saying, it's like it is a pre-order market still, even though there are places carrying the figures now. The pre-orders are still the heart of trying to get these figures out to the people. And in the case of someone like Super 7 that probably doesn't have the numbers that the Horsemen have to do their lines, I'd imagine that's an even bigger part of it. That's their lifeblood, trying to get these things out the door.
then to me, they've got to do something more to incentivize pre-ordering from them.
Well, or get rid of that pre-order model altogether and just deal with retailers.
That's what I'm saying. Just ship them. Just make them and ship them. And
because, to Sean's point, we haven't consistently with Super 7, especially when they're doing humans. It seems like they really excelled at the Turtle line and the Thundercats line because they were doing animals and that kind of thing. And they do much better at that. But when they do humans, what you get shown as a prototype is rarely what you get as the final product. So the fact that you can get them at the retailer for the same price as what you can get from the pre-order from Super 7, and you don't know what kind of quality you're going to get, why would you pay for that ahead of time when you can just wait and see? Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people switched to that, and they started ordering more through Big Bad Toy Store. And then what was happening is they started seeing them in hand and realizing they weren't great quality, and they started canceling their pre-orders. Mm-hmm. And that's a Big Bad Toy Store problem that we've talked about, that they don't require a deposit. Mm-hmm. And, you've got these people canceling orders as they're getting ready to push them through. And now they're stuck sitting on all this inventory. Mm-hmm. So that's a problem for them to fix. But I don't know. I feel like, in this economy, people are looking to get value for their money. And, I know, they had a really good discussion last night on Dork Layer's show about best bang for your buck, best value figures. Mm-hmm. And nobody talked about a Super 7. There's not, I can't think of one Super 7 figure where if you buy it at the regular price where you go, man, I got a lot of value for my money.
I, honestly, going back to what I said earlier, and granted, I haven't collected. I had the Turtles Ultimates figures. I haven't collected anything outside of that other than the Master stuff. And for me, still, the one that I feel you get the most bang for your buck was the Masters Ultimates, when those first 5 He-Man, Teela, Skeletor, Faker, and Ram Man hit. Those to me were worth that. Yep. Those to me were great figures. I love that they were variants, but you could still have them as your main figure if you needed them because they weren't released. Those were figures that were harder to get and going for a lot more money. And then you could buy them for $35 off a Super 7. And then you get all the alternate heads. You get all the weapons that ever came out. Those were worth it. And, ever since then, their prices keep going up. So then to get a Turtles Ultimate figure, then all of a sudden it's $55-$60. And you're getting less out of that than you did even with those original Masters 5-pack that they came out with. So
I want to bring up something that Trevor said. Jada is Hong Kong-based company. They're not paying U.S. salaries, as far as I understand. Well, my retort to that would be that Super 7 is also using China to do their manufacturing. So even if they are paying some employees in the U.S., I mean, it can't be much, and it certainly shouldn't be enough that it takes a price from $25 up to $55. And if it is,
have you met Americans?
Well, most of your employees are going to be the ones making the figures, and those are in China, not the people that are designing the figures. And if your in-house designers are causing your product to be $55, then maybe you need to look at how you're doing business.
I don't think I'm not saying it's the in-house designers.
Well, who else is in the U.S. that they're paying?
Well, I was just about to say, Joe brought up earlier that their headquarters,
the guy at the top,
their headquarters is in San Francisco, which rent alone in San Francisco has got to be absolutely insane. So,
all right, let me try to say something here before someone cuts me off in the middle of my thought and I forget what it was, and I don't ever get to complete my thought. I was going to make that.
Oh, Jesus.
Sorry, I had to. Go ahead.
The thing with Jada, they're smaller figures. I'm not saying it's cheaper plastic. It's a different plastic. And I'm not trying to defend Super 7. I mean, it sounds like it, but I'm not trying to defend. I'm just saying some of the price value I understand. I think part of Super 7's problems is they're putting out too much from too many lines for stuff people didn't ask for.
Yes.
Nobody asked for a reissue of the Transformers. Sean, what were those things called? The Action Masters.
Yeah.
The Hasbro line didn't do well.
Yep.
And that was their original, the non-transforming ones. No one was asking for that. The cartoon accurate GI Joes, I don't know anybody that was begging for $55 versions of those figures. The Disney figures, I don't know anybody who was asking for those. I'm not saying they didn't sell and that they aren't things people like, but Jada also has stuff. Street Fighter is a global phenomenon as far as its appeal. I mean, the whole game is built around characters from all over the world that are in it. The Universal Monster line, again, is a global thing that people love. What was the other one we were talking about that they had? The food ones, the food icon ones, that has a weird, like the food icon characters has this really bizarre, awesome, amazing fandom because there's like very little for that stuff out there. So when stuff comes out, people will buy that stuff. You know, and you know, I like I like the Turtle Super 7 for the most part. I like the Thundercats ones I got. Chitara was definitely a disappointment from what the pictures were to what I actually got. But I got two of the worst figures because the Horsemen were originally, I don't know how much of their design stayed in it. I haven't looked back at the original pictures. But one I got at regular price, one I got for $25 because a friend he's like, oh, it's buy two, get it for $50. And I'm like, I'll split one with you. If you get the one character, I'll get the other one. They look cool, but yeah, the articulation's not great. They come with a ton of accessories versus this $13/$20 Aquaman that came with no gripping hands, no weapon. It's just him and the freaking octopus, but it was $13.
Right.
Stuff looks good, like Trevor's saying, but at some point you gotta dial back all this random stuff that people like Curtis, you like Next Generation.
Yeah.
Is there any version of those figures you would have wanted?
I mean, not for that price. If they were in stores right now for, $20, $25, maybe, definitely not for 55.
Right. And I think that's it. And I've said this since the beginning. Like I've got the 4 turtles and 4 villains, and I have like a Ziploc gallon baggie full of like hands and weapons and stuff that just sit there. Like, to me, strip some of that extra stuff away. I might be in the minority, but I say strip that extra stuff away and bring down the price.
Yep.
I would rather pay $30 and get my figure and its iconic weapons that I'm actually going to display it with than pay $55 and have a baggie full of stuff I'm never going to touch again.
Sure.
Yeah, give me less than Ultimates.
Yeah.
I don't need to be there.
Ultimate
for 2025. The less than Ultimates everything now.
Give me the less than Ultimate. Give me the bare minimum. That's what I want. But yeah,
this is our a little better than good line.
Right. Let me pull this up again real quick.
They're just making their way through the world versions.
So, I don't know. Do I need the medallion and all this kind of stuff? Do I need the extra the trash can head and the basket head?
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of shit in here that it's like, yeah, I hear what you're saying. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's not going to get utilized.
Nope.
So these things, I feel like these things would be great as accessory packs.
You've
got your original Super 7 Leo. Here's a pack that comes with the
why do I need a whole nother Leo if I already got? Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Right. Like, okay, because we already paid for the tooling on the figure, so we're only really paying for the tooling on the new accessories, but whatever. Like, I think accessory packs are a thing a lot of these companies are missing out on. And not trying to blow the trumpet of the 4 horsemen beyond necessary, but like the hands packs, the belt packs, the weapon packs, these different things, like they add so much more value to your characters and your displays. And you don't have to get them if you don't want to.
Right.
Like,
Well, and this
like
one's
the
kind of
magic
the
effects.
opposite. This one comes with just one extra head. That's
Yep.
it. Has nothing else.
Perfect.
Mhm.
And it's,
And that
and it's
thing's-
8 inches tall. But how is it $85? Like it's 8 inches
It's
tall. This
14 inches long.
but that's just
Yeah,
the tail.
tail.
Like look
Right.
at it. It's all tail.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Godzilla. Have you met Godzilla?
But you know what I'm saying? Like it's not like you're paying for this big, massive, giant thing. Like you're essentially paying for this figure and then a tail. How is that $85? I just don't get that. Like if this thing was 12 inches, if this, you're holding up a He-Man, but he's 12 inches tall,
Right. That's
and he
not
comes
that
with a
far.
million different things with him.
There.
I don't know, man. I just feel like their shit's overpriced, and the only way that I think people buy it is if they're like me with the Silverhawks, where they're so attached to a certain property that it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Like they could put out those Silverhawks, and they could be $85 a piece, and I would still probably pay it because I need at least like Copper Kid. Like I need a Copper Kid in my collection. They put out a Copper Kid right now for $85, and I have to pull the trigger. I don't care. Like I can't wait and afford to see if maybe it gets cheaper. I have to pull the trigger because I need that in my collection, and that's the only people I see them selling to right now.
Yep.
Are people that are so caught with the nostalgia bug that it doesn't matter what the price is, they're going to pay it. So
Absolutely agree.
Yeah, I think personally that, and it's been brought up in the chat actually. NECA is another one who I feel like they're doing it better than other people as well. I mean, they had they give you like when you got the Turtles, for instance, the movie Turtles. They gave you a couple of hands options. They gave you their weapons. They gave you, that was pretty much it. But you know what? It worked. And then he's on mute again. but and then later on they had the accessory pack come out, and then you had like Donatello could have the straw hat then and all that if you wanted it. It wasn't just included, so that you had to pay $55 for that. They were literally like 25 or whatever it was at GameStop when you picked them up originally for the 6-inch ones. And I feel like they're still at least doing well with their model on that, and they're using IPs. They're not just creating their own stuff. They're using IPs. They're using nostalgia as well, but a different kind of nostalgia than what Super 7's offering. And a lot of that's the other thing too. Like Super 7 is almost like proud of doing these so off the beaten path ideas that's probably a hindrance to them at this point, because I don't want to buy a Jimi Hendrix figure. I don't need a King Crimson figure on my shelf or any of that, but they're going for that kind of stuff. That's their thing.
Well, I don't need an astronaut Leonardo,
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, listen, I'm not the hugest Turtle fan, but I don't know who does. I don't know who needs, astronaut Leonardo or, rap battle Mikey or, like who needs these things? I don't
Well,
know. That's
even
the
when
part
we
that
were-
I don't get. Like,
even when we were kids, I was saying that back in those days, because that's stuff that like the furthest I remember getting into like the variants, I got the Samurai Leo and I got the Sewer Surfing Mikey, and that was about it. I didn't worry about hardly any of the other ones, because for me, I'm just like, you literally are asking me to buy the same figures over and over and over again. And I could figure that out at like 11 years old when I was still buying these figures.
Dorklayer brings up NECA. Said he bought about 3 NECAs between 2018 and 2022. Bought about 25 NECA figures this past year. That's another company that's using, IPs and putting out stuff that is not $55, not even close to it. Now, granted, they're putting a lot of their stuff out in retailers, in the stores, so they're selling more quantities. They're able to get it for a cheaper price, but still, that's another one when. We're just in a day and age where you're trying to get value for your money. And Super 7 is just not on that list. So
I think they're at a point where they either need to make the move to just go to retailers directly, or they need to go back to everything's made to order. And if you don't get it in this window, you don't get it,
I think they just need to go out of business and have somebody else pick up the Silverhawks license, and then I won't have to worry about it. So
Brian Flynn will take that to
Well,
his grave.
I'm going to say, go ahead, Sean. I'll go after you.
All I'm going to say is if that happens, they're going to do it in a way that's going to piss you off, and you need to get that whole new collection, and you got to get rid of the Super 7.
Yep.
Because you know they're going to do something. Either they're going to try to make them look realistic this time, or they're going to do all that you can get is the back metal, and then you're like, oh, son of a, like one way or the other, it won't be the same. Or depending if you're like me with the OCD, you're going to look at that and go, that isn't the same company. That copper kit is not the Super 7 copper kit. They never gave me one, and it'll drive you nuts. Yeah.
I wouldn't have a problem buying a new one from another company. That's fine. So.
Well, it won't be broken at least this time if you get a new steel.
I hope they do. I hope they do a Thundercats roar style of Silverhawks. Cartooning.
I'd watch it.
I know.
What were you going to say, Jesse? Sorry about that.
Just because we did talked about McFarlane earlier, and the 90s and Image and all that stuff. When Image kicked off, they started their books out at what, $1.95 straight out of the gate, which I think most comics were still like $1.25, $1.50 at that point.
Mm-hmm.
They were still like $1, I want to say. X-Men #1, I think, was $1 still.
Yeah.
And then
whatever
it was the next year Image hit with $2. Yeah.
Yeah, it was $1.95. It was like what this is, but like because they were using like the nice computer coloring and the printouts, it was worth it, right?
Their paper was better quality too.
It was. Yeah. It was definitely worth it. But then if you look at some of those, there's that documentary on YouTube or Netflix about Image. And like Rob Liefeld and some of those guys, they got so overwhelmed. Now, granted, he was like the youngest of them, and just I'm not trying to pick on Rob Liefeld for Rob Liefeld reasons, but he and I saw this with Pat Lee, the guy who came up with the Dreamwave comic series in the early 2000s, like that comic line. Like these guys, they got. I don't want to say like money drunk, but money drunk. The power, like in that one documentary, it talks about how Liefeld, like he was doing this and that. He had all of these like fully like ornate costumes to go to shows and like buying fancy cars and all this stuff. I have a point. I'm coming back to it where, then you've got, I'm not naming names, but I think maybe some people are either doing I can't say you're doing a toy company for the wrong reasons if you want to make money for selling toys, but if you're doing it, it's like the whole nope, not going to open that can of worms. I think some people are just maybe not. There's certain flash or level of flash that people want to put off when they make it, or they think they've gotten to a point and they start cashing checks that they're not ready to actually follow through on. And, and then there's other places, like I think the NECA guys, like when they do shows, like when they set up at like ToyCon or RetroCon or not RetroCon, RetroCon or ZolonCon, when I'm there, they're there, like they sell stuff cheap and they sell their tables out and they pack up and leave because they don't have anything left. And I just think different people are in it for different reasons. And I think that reflects in the prices and the way things are handled is all I'm saying.
Yeah. To several of the things that Joe's mentioned and Trevor's mentioned about their location and all this and that, like also some people just aren't good at business. Like, I don't know that Brian Flynn is a good businessman. He likes toys. I know that. I know that he's interested in these things. He enjoys them. But I don't think he's a good businessman. And, setting up your shop in, the state with, the biggest taxes and, doing these IPs that are costing so much money that you have to charge ridiculous prices for your figures and the things that they've had with quality. He's just not very good with business. So I don't know.
Motuguro brings up the Ramen Toy Silverhawk slice. Have you heard anything on them since? Because I know they had Quicksilver and Monstar, right? Have they done anything since then?
So my understanding is, and somebody please correct me if they know something otherwise, is that Ramen Toys was working with Super 7. Super 7's name is plastered on the back of the Ramen Toys boxes for Monstar and Quicksilver. So they were working with Super 7, had the permission to make those figures and those versions that they made, put them out. And then my understanding is that at some point they were told that there was a problem with the licensing. What that problem was, there's been a lot of speculation that Super 7 thought they owned the license, but they didn't really. Who knows? Whatever, back and forth. Brian Flynn says that that's all a misunderstanding, but whatever. At some point, Ramen was told they no longer had the permission to make Silverhawks. So then, but Ramen had already worked on designs for other Silverhawks. So they're doing their normal Ramen thing, which means that they're going to put something out that looks like Silverhawks, that's the exact style of Silverhawks, that they're going to call something different. And, they've shown Steelheart, I believe.
Yeah, I see the girl here.
Yeah, they may have shown another one, but I know they've shown that one at least. They have not solicited it for sales yet. My understanding is they're going to continue to work on Silverhawks without the Silverhawk license and call them something else. And we'll see, what happens with, whether somebody shuts them down, whether it's Super 7 or somebody else that's in the license, who knows? We'll see. We'll see what happens. I did like the Quicksilver. The Monstar was okay, but it was a little undersized. Like I said, I am a Silverhawks cuck, and I will buy anything that they put out at whatever price from whatever company. And then, I may bitch about it, but I'm still going to pay for it. So we'll see. If they put something out, I'll probably buy it. So,
all right.
Yeah.
And Joe, Snarf comes with a satchel. So yes, 55 is absolutely worth it.
Well, that satchel could go on the Jesse figure. So
they'll share.
Yeah.
They'll share.
Dorklayer says, I'm not going to pretend to know how profitable Super 7. Yeah, I don't know.
Us either. We have no fucking clue.
Yeah, we have no clue. We this and as terrible a businessman as I think Brian Flynn is, he's much better at running a toy company than I am. Okay.
True.
But that being said, I question the decisions that he makes.
He has produced at least one more toy than me.
So. For sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So, and I will say he has had some success too. I mean, towards the end of the Masters line, those movie figures are some of the best, Masters figures we've gotten in hand.
Yep.
Those things are great. And then, I know folks that are they're as tied to the nostalgia of Thundercats as I am with Silverhawks, and they love that Thundercat line. That Thundercat line, everything that they've put out with that has been pretty much flawless. Obviously, there were some issues with the Chitara and back and forth on that, but all the figures they've put out have been great on that. And I think the Turtles ones, for the most part, at least while Horsemen were involved, were really good. And now you're getting into all these variants and stuff that I feel like people don't need in this economy for that price, but whatever. All right. Well, that was a discussion.
Oh, yeah.
That was.
Unplanned, unscripted, off-world.
Off-world.
This is what you wanted, Curtis. Hey, look at this. See?
It got my mind off of my shitter
a little tonight.
Yeah. I didn't think about my plumbing for at least a good hour and a half.
Do we want to take a trip to the movies tonight?
Sure. Why not?
Might as well.
Last couple times that we've gone to the movies, I have found a movie to watch afterwards, and I've enjoyed it. So
there you go. Just not Mario Brothers.
Yeah, last one I saw last week was City Heat with Burt Reynolds and Clint Eastwood. It's actually really good. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I did learn that Burt Reynolds, there's a scene at the beginning of the movie that he's in a fight in a diner, and apparently the guy that was supposed to hit him with a breakaway chair and instead hit him with a metal chair and broke his jaw. And
Nice.
I guess after the movie, he couldn't work for like 2 years, and it really caused him a lot of problems with, like, he got addicted to painkillers and all kinds of other stuff. So
I've heard about that with
it was not good
movie. Yeah.
And I guess he had to do most of the movie with his like jaw wired shut. So it was that's a little interesting, but it was overall it was a good movie. I thought the dynamic between Clint Eastwood and Burt Reynolds was actually really good. It was enjoyable. So
it's got Rip Torn in it too.
All right. Let's pull up random number generator, 1981 to 2010, and here we go. 1982. All right.
I remember it like it was yesterday.
I remember
He
it
was
like
in the negative column for years then.
Where is? Hold on.
Holding on.
Here we go. All right. Weekly. We're going back to 1982. And we are looking for December 29th. Here we go.
There.
All right. We have gone back in
wow.
time, folks. We have taken the time machine back. We are at this age, not at a younger age. And the top 10 of the movie, we have number 1, Tootsie. So there you go. I think we all know Tootsie.
I don't think I've seen that all the way through.
We've got Dark Crystal. We have got The Toy. We've got Best Friends.
Oh, look at that bird again.
Mm-hmm.
We have 48 Hours.
Ooh.
Okay. The Verdict. I don't know this one. This is outcast, alcoholic Boston lawyer sees the chance to salvage his career and self-respect by taking medical malpractice case to trial rather than settling. Okay.
All right.
E.T. Apparently it's an extraterrestrial movie with a child. Don't know.
Now, what week is this for ET?
This is 29 for ET.
29 weeks still in the top 10.
We've got Airplane 2, the sequel.
I've still never seen the sequel. I love Airplane. I've never seen the sequel.
We have got Peter Pan, 1982 re-release. And rounding out the top 10, we've got Kiss Me Goodbye. The ghost of a dead husband haunts the wife as she moves back to their house in New York City. She's about to marry an Egyptologist there.
It's a very specific subplot.
That is. There you go.
I feel like there's more in Kiss Me Goodbye. We're missing.
Somehow I don't see many of us going to see Kiss Me Goodbye, but
speak for yourself.
We'll go ahead and start at the top. We'll start with Dooch.
I hate going first.
You want me to start at the bottom?
No, you're fine. I can go first.
Okay.
Obviously, ET's a big pull there, but I've seen that a ton. I think I'm actually going to go see 48 Hours because I can. It's one I've seen a couple times. I've enjoyed it. I'm going to go see it in the theaters.
Okay. 48 Hours was in the mix for me here. But I think I'm going to go see The Toy. It's one of my favorite movies. I love Richard Pryor in that movie. It is one of the funniest frickin' flicks. So I think that's the one that's gonna pull me in here. So I'm gonna go see The Toy.
I know I've seen it, but I don't have many memories of it, so I might need to revisit that at some point.
Basically, billionaire sends his kid to the toy store to buy whatever he wants, and he ends up wanting the employee, which is Richard Pryor.
Right.
No,
I remember the movie, just not like specifics. Like it's not.
It is. It's one of my favorite comedies. So, Jesse,
Dark Crystal.
Crystal. Okay.
I would have picked ET, but I think I've picked ET in a previous one, and I did see ET in theaters. I
Mhm.
did not see Dark Crystal in theaters. I didn't actually see that till I was in college because I think I saw a preview for it and it scared the crap out of me. But looking at this list, that is what I would pick today.
Sounds good. And Sean, can I make a guess at yours, Sean?
Feel free. Sure.
I think you're going to go see 48 Hours. I know you were talking about Eddie Murphy in Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah.
I feel like this is very similar, and I think that's where you're going. But am I right or wrong?
Well, the first one, when I first saw the top three, I was going to say Dark Crystal. I did see that in the theater when I was a kid because my mom is a big Jim Henson buff, and she got that, you know, like I got that through her. But then once I saw ET down there, I have to go ET because that one, that I think, if I remember correctly, was the very first movie I saw in the theater. And I remember bits and pieces of it, and to this day, the chasing with the bicycles at the end is still. Every time I see that movie, that part, I just sit there riveted to the TV every time, and I love when C. Thomas Howell, I think it is, when they get on the street finally after they go through all the development and they're avoiding all the cars. And I love that when he pulls off the hockey mask. We made it! Oh shit! They're still chasing them, grabbing him. It's like one of my that and this is reality, Greg, and all that stuff. I mean, it's got some quotable lines in it too. But yeah, that whole ending leading up to the spaceship is like one of the coolest, especially when you're a kid watching it. It's like, you know, the adventure and the drama of can you get your friend home and all that stuff. So
I mean, the kid is much better in Cloak and Dagger for sure, but yeah.
Okay. This is reality, Curtis.
No, you know, it's probably been 20 plus years since I've seen ET, so I may have to go back and rewatch it. I mean, obviously I know the premise of the movie, but I can't recall specifics of it. So that may be one that I need to go back and rewatch.
Yeah, see, that's how I am with the toy right now. It's just I know the movie, but I can't pinpoint any scene.
So let's see. ET was week 29. Everything else was in like the 3 weeks or less.
Yeah, it's
so everything else was fairly new. But yeah, ET was holding strong for a while.
This is a pretty good week considering end of the year, and most of the end of the year stuff we've gotten so far has been really hit or miss. So it's one of the most solid weeks we've had in a while.
Well, that's because Christmas. A lot of big movies would come out at Christmas time. I mean, still do, or they try to put them out at Christmas time. Because everybody has off, stuff for the family to go see together. All that sort
Let's see. We've got a few things in the chat. Trevor says Dark Crystal all day. Dorklayer says good list. Joe says The Toy was the first movie he ever saw in theaters. So then Trevor says, oh, damn ET. So I don't know if he changed his mind or not.
I think he's sneaking into ET after he paid for the Dark Crystal.
Motu Guru says he watched The Toy at least 200 times.
Stop projecting your criminal behavior onto other people.
Same.
He knows what he did.
And Dorklayer says The Toy. So
nice.
All right. Yeah, that was a pretty good week. So Beautimus.
All right, so let's. I'll throw it out there just as another conversation point if we want to do another thing or if we're going to close shop at this point. I brought it up last week, but I don't think anybody had the chance to watch it besides me. Has anybody watched Rebel Moon and would like to discuss it, or are we not able to do that still?
I did, and I believe Jesse did, correct?
I have watched it, yes.
Okay.
I mean, you guys are free to discuss it. I really don't have much interest in it. It's like one of those I'll get to eventually, but like it's not anything I'm super hyped about.
Do we want to do a spoiler-free review, or are we getting into like?
I just overall, I was just curious to see the reactions to it because I don't know what it is. Anytime Zack Snyder puts anything out, I always get triggered by it because ever since Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, it's been one of those things where I'm like, I liked him up until he started doing those. I liked him until Sucker Punch. And then Sucker Punch was like, where did this come from? And what are you projecting on me watching this movie? This is weird. But then on top of that, ever since the DCU stuff, now I'm just like, can I handle it or not? Because he seems to have this really weird way of filmmaking that I don't know if I'm cool with it anymore or not. But anyway, that's just me coming into it. But if you guys, we could do overall or we could do spoilers. I'm easy.
We can start with overall, and then if we want to get into it, we can. I think for me, I don't like how Zach handles like previously established properties. I don't feel like he handled the DC universe appropriately and took into consideration all of the history that's there. So I didn't like that aspect of it. I felt like he didn't do well with the established characters and properties. With this, I don't have any background with these characters, so I didn't have that same problem with this. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. I felt like the characters that they brought in throughout the movie, like as they're kind of assembling their crew, I really enjoyed each of the characters. Like there wasn't any of them that I was just kind of like, I take or leave that one. Like I thought they were all really good. They had their own unique kind of take on, their skill sets and all this and that. I thought it was enjoyable. I mean, it's not one that I felt like, oh, this is the greatest movie that came out this year. But I thought it was a good, popcorn flick, and I was ready to watch, the next one. So that's kind of my spoiler-free take.
I think I'm somewhere between you guys. I think.
Ooh.
I was looking forward to, because I think Zack Snyder has a very unique and very cinematic, interesting way of telling stories. Like you, Curtis, and definitely you, Sean. I don't like the way he handled the DC stuff. There's some beautiful shots and there's some awesome sequences in those movies. You rename those characters to not Superman, not Batman. It's far better, far more tolerable. He did a movie based on a series of kids books called the Guardians of Ga'Hoole, or the Legend of the Guardian, the Owl movies or books, and he butchered it. It's a kid's book, and I think he ruined it. It's a beautiful, the animation on it.
I've never read the books, but I love that movie. So, but that's probably why.
The book is, and for kids' books, like they are infinitely better than the movie that came out as far as the actual story. Like or the writer, whoever did it, they chopped stuff up and tried to make things more interconnected. It's like you didn't need to do that. I'm with Sean on Sucker Punch. I thought there was a lot of really interesting visual things in that movie. And I don't just mean girls in skimpy outfits. I mean, like the concept of it, I thought were interesting, but then the way he was doing that movie as like, well, we're going to tell you how bad it is to exploit women by having this whole movie be all about exploiting women while we're exploiting women to tell the story. Like it just didn't quite work. Like it just kind of like Shallow Hal. It's like, well, we're going to tell you it's not good to make fun of fat people, but we're going to make sure that Gwyneth Paltrow looks like the skinny person for 80% of the movie. All that to say, this I think this movie had a lot of potential. I'm going to hold off reserving full judgment until or if I see the second part. I feel like the lead character, Cora, played by, I think it's Sophia Boutella, or I don't know if I'm saying her last name right, or if that's even correct. I think she's fantastic. I think she's a phenomenal lead. Like every time she was on screen, Like the character, the emotion she's going through, just everything about her just was captivating and drew me in. Most of the other characters, I think I can say this without spoiling anything for anybody. Apologies in advance if it does. I mean, it's Seven Samurai in space, essentially.
Right.
And for being an almost 2.5 hour movie, I feel like I barely got emotionally connected to any of the other characters.
Oh, really?
And I was excited to watch it. I think they're cool. I want to know more, but I didn't feel like most of those characters. It's like, oh, here's another cool character, and this is why they're cool. Here's another cool character. Here's a whole action sequence on why they're cool. Or here's a character. We're going to be really mysterious. This is why he's cool. And for the most part,
for me, that was enough to hook the hook in my lip to where, I don't know everything about them, but I want to know more. Like I'm excited about
right.
it. Yeah.
Like I want to know more, but like we got to some emotional things by the end of this first movie that I feel like I should have had more of an emotional connection. Kind of like the first time I watched Rogue One. It didn't. The first time I watched Rogue One, I was like, this is a good movie. I didn't feel like I was that connected to the characters, but after I read the book adaptation, and then watched the movie, like it's grown on me to where I really like it, and not just for the last 5 minutes of the movie. I think this is an interesting world. I think it relies too heavily on the things it's borrowing from as far as the story goes, but I want to give it another shot. I'm going to watch it again. I want to see the second part. I think it's definitely, if you like sci-fi fantasy stuff, it's worth watching. I also like the concept of, without saying anything too spoilery, there's a droid. I think I can say that's been shown in the previews and stuff. I like the concept they set up with the droid. That was the character I was most interested in finding more about. So, I think it's worth watching. It's very, you can definitely dial down the freaking slow-mo. Like it's not as bad as it was in the Snyder cut of Justice League. But it's definitely overdone.
I will say the part with the droid, I felt like had a lot more emotion than droids I typically see depicted in other sci-fi. Like he had, like you could tell he was going through a crisis of conscience or whatever, like deciding what he needed to do. So that part I really was interested in. To
add on it, which is one of the reasons, again, that character and Korra, the lead, I think are two of the things. Like I'm like, I think Zack Snyder is a good storyteller. I think he gets in his own way sometimes, just like all of us creative people get in our own way. And I just don't think he has anybody telling him no or try something else.
The one thing I'll say, and Trevor takes a shot at me here with the, haven't watched it yet, but the going narrative is no character development. Wait, that's why Curtis likes it. I will say, now that you've given your little assessment and Trevor says that, like, it did have a very Justice League-esque vibe to it in terms of they were trying to accomplish too much in too short of a period of time to where they didn't spend enough time developing these characters. But for me, that worked because it makes me want to watch more, to learn more about those characters. I think the problem that I had with it in the DC universe was I already knew these characters and I wanted them to, show more about them. And I didn't get that. With this, it felt like a good tease to make me want to come back for the next movie. But
I don't disagree with you again, other than the fact that it took 2.5 hours to get, like, I knew it was going to be a two-parter.
Yeah.
Well, I think Dune did a better job of setting up what I needed to know, get through the story of that first part.
Oh, yeah, you can't even compare this to Dune.
And I'm not trying to compare quality wise, but again, he does that whole thing with that droid. That droid has no facial expressions. Like and I'm pretty sure it's mostly CGI, probably over like a motion capture. But like I felt that droid was as realistic as any character Andy Serkis has ever performed. You know, between the Planet of the Apes, Gollum. Like I really want to know more about that droid.
I did like the lights, like when she touched his face and like the whole like that was nice. Yeah.
I will say one thing. It's kind of spoilery. Sorry for some people. It might be a little triggering, and I don't mean that as an insult. The bad guys have taken over the town, so we have to make sure you know they're really bad and not just misunderstood with their things. So they're gonna try to rape a girl, and you know, have this whole like I hate that trope as a movie trope. Like I know that's a thing that happens. I know it's real. I'm not trying to dismiss anybody that's had that happen to them in real life, but like it's so like, can't you get me to feel that like these guys are bad without doing that? Can't you just show they had already done enough to show me I don't like these guys? Like maybe that was the incentive, you know, moment that brought the heroes out to do their thing. I don't know if they just, it's kind of like with Superman. Sorry, Sean, I'm going to set you off here. You could have had Superman deal with like, I was on this boat when I first saw it. So I'm checking myself in this box here, defending like, well, Superman had to kill Zod because the family was there. And Sean was like, yeah, but he didn't have to write it that way. Like it wasn't actually happening. They didn't have to put that family in the corner for Zod to kill. They could have come up with some other way to end that. And that's the way I am with that moment. It's just like, can there be something else than some girl is getting objectified and victimized to show us someone's bad?
Well, to jump on the thing about the Superman at the end, I'll just say this really quick. For Superman to give a damn about that family, but then to jump over a tanker truck with a building right behind him that it blows up into, and probably people died in there, that's where I'm like, you can't do those moves and then have it mean something at the end when he's willing to kill Zod, because now finally he sees the faces of people he's about to kill. But you killed how many people in Smallville, and you killed how many people in Metropolis, and this is how you bring it to an end. Okay.
But people dying don't count unless they're on camera, Sean.
Oh, I know, and that's the worst part. You just see that right into their eyes. They're about to die. So Superman obviously needs to kill everybody that's going to do anything wrong in that scene. And that was a Zack Snyder thing, and that was one of those things that made me go, oh, so now I know the guy that he pulled the trigger that made me not like the rest of this. So Rebel Moon, I won't go into my old Superman Batman stuff on that one. So like what first off, thank you for that at the end, Jesse, about the rape part, because what I loved starting this movie was literally it's saying, because the rating at the top, and they tell you what's in here to have that rating, and one of them is that there is they don't say rape specifically, but they say, you know, like there's
sexual violence or something,
violence, and I'm like, oh, so here we go. This will be great, you know. And it's like, Zack Snyder is also somebody who flat out said if he does a Batman movie, he wants to have Batman raped in prison, which made me go, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, this guy doesn't get that stuff, and now I'm in his world. It's the whole, you're not in here, I'm not in here with you, you're in here with me moment. And I'm like, oh shit, what am I about to get into? And they didn't get into it like horribly. There was definitely not like a, you know, the girl with the dragon tattoo where I'm sitting there traumatized going, I hate being a man because I'm watching this scene. that movie completely messed with me when I saw that one. But no, like Zack Snyder is somebody that it's like everything that influenced this story, it's literally like he brings all his toys, puts them on the table and says, I want all this to be my movie. And you're like, but that's Han Solo, and that's, you know, a Kurosawa movie, and that's, yes, all of it. And then, like, well, what are you bringing to the table? He goes, rape. I want the people to have sex because their harvest needs to grow. And they're like, so you're bringing in a lot of dirtiness. Sex. And that's it. And it's literally, that's how it feels to watch this movie for me. Like even in the beginning, he doesn't do the show don't tell. He does the I'm gonna beat the living shit out of you with exposition, and you're gonna have to figure this out on your own. Listening to everything I'm telling you, you will believe what I'm saying because Anthony Hopkins is telling you these things, and Anthony Hopkins literally sounds exhausted doing the narration at the beginning of this movie, and I honestly keep thinking, how many times did he stop and go, what the fuck are you wanting me to say here? Why do I have to say this? I don't even understand what's coming out of my mouth. But for some reason you're paying me, I'll just say it. Fine. And he just reads it. I mean, if you want to do it, I'll go to the one that I absolutely love. Go to Fellowship of the Rings and do it the way Peter Jackson did it, where at least you're living out these moments through that movie to really pull you into this world. Because once the whole opening of that movie hit and then it said Lord of the Rings, I remember being in the theater going, you got me. Like, I am completely into Middle Earth. Let's do this. And I was off to the races with the hobbits in that movie. This one, it's like, it has some bits and pieces where I'm like, oh, well, that's interesting, or that could be played up interesting, or this or that could be, you know, something new. But it doesn't try to say anything new. He's really relying on Seven Samurai or Magnificent Seven. And the problem with relying on that to me is if you're going to use that as your backbone, that's great. But do something with that makes it say this is yours, and do something with it to elevate what you want to do and make it your own and make it something that people are like, wow. You used an inspiration and it became something different through the way you crafted it. And all it made me do was go, man, I really want to watch Seven Samurai again. I haven't watched that in years. That was a great freaking movie. That Magnificent Seven, you have the whole camaraderie with those gunslingers in that movie. By the end of that movie, you're literally cheering these 7 guys on who want to protect this village at all costs against the freaking army. And like when you see how the ending of that movie is, for anybody who's never seen it, I won't spoil it, but by the end of that movie, you feel like you've been through something with these guys. And in the case of this one, I just kind of was like, okay, here's side quest A, B, C, D. And I didn't feel anything for these characters. I think the only thing that really surprised me was Ray Fisher, who played Cyborg in Justice League, shows up. And he was somebody that when you get to the end of his scene with the movie, you're like, well, that's different. But it wasn't like, wow, that was great. It was more like, man, you pulled the rug out from under that character. That was definitely not what I was expecting. But no, like I was just curious based on the previews. Zack Snyder is an incredible preview or a trailer director. Man of Steel's trailer had me like, you have my money. Just let me see a really amazing Superman movie. And then I left the theater going, what? Like, what the hell did I just witness? Same with Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch visually, when you watch that trailer, you're like, this is freaking like, it's almost like he's reading my mind of what I've been wanting to see as a movie, and he managed to finally put it up there on the big screen. And then you watch it and you're like, oh, this ain't that kind of movie, and this is making me feel bad about everything right now. And this doesn't do that, thankfully. It doesn't make you feel bad. It doesn't make you feel horrible to be a man, but there is definitely just like, you added nothing to the influences that you had. You basically just made it's almost like you did a cosplay movie and said, this is your original idea, and everybody can see what parts of the cosplay you're using, and you're just saying that's yours. And it's like George Lucas is going to sue somebody, kind of a feeling.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something very discombobulated about the movie, but for some reason I like it. Like it's where it's like you said, like he mixed his toys, like it was different toy lines, and he just threw these toys together, and he's like, I'm gonna play with these. And this one's a gladiator, and this one's like a Viking, and this one's like a Native American, and this one's like this one's like a Nazi, and this one's like a whatever. And it's like he just threw it all together, and but in a universe where you've got all these different worlds and cultures and technology and things, you're going to have a bunch of different people that do different things that are different. So I liked the mix, the kind of melting pot of people that were in the movie.
Oh yeah.
That worked for me. It's just a matter of, seeing where it goes. So I agree with what Jesse said. Like, time will tell. We'll have to see, what the next movie looks like and how they finish this. But I'm at least intrigued. Like it's got me interested in more. It doesn't have me going, oh man, what the hell did I just watch? I don't want to ever see that again. So, and the best thing it's got going for it was not the Star Wars sequels. So that's the best thing it's got going for it. So,
well, you can even see like what's funny to me is the Mandalorian did a little they literally put 45 minutes into doing this episode in the first season, if I remember right, and like I'm like, that was such an easy story to tell in literally less than an hour, and somehow the guy couldn't even get his act together to tell it in 2.5 hours. And there's a part 2, and on top of that, there's also a Snyder cut of this thing coming out that's supposed to be 3+ hours. And I'm sitting here going, really? Like that? I think that's the thing that bugs me the most out of any of this situation. Is it feels like that is now the new norm when it comes to Zack Snyder, and that's something that I'm absolutely abhorring about this guy. Is every single time he puts out a movie, oh wait, I got a better one right here. It's longer. It'll make more sense. How is it? Like, this is my argument with the Star Wars movies, but with him, it's like, how is it you as a storyteller can't get your shit together to tell a 2-hour movie out of some idea you have, and you always have to have, here's the new version, but it's 5 hours. Like, really? Maybe the idea should have
twice the rape.
Well, there's the rape, and there's also, I mean, it's not even women that are. There's a dude in the movie that even gets propositioned, and the guy's like, he's not taking no for an answer even in that scene. Which is like, if you like the cantina in Star Wars, just stay at Star Wars. Scum and Villainy works better than what you're going to see in a Zack Snyder cantina. But it's the idea.
I did like the alien with his like thing around the guy's throat, like making the dude talk and stuff. Like that was pretty cool.
It's weird as hell to me that we are now in this era where you have to do homework or you have to get downloadable content just to complete a story that should be able to be told within the span of 2 hours, or if you go 2.5 hours.
That's just Jesse being bored with me and Sean talking, Joe.
No. I was trying to see if I could find out information on the release of the extended cut.
Gotcha.
And so now is part 2 like a for sure thing, or is it?
Yeah, it's
Part 2 is coming in April.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and they put out a trailer for it like this week or whatever, and it basically does follow suit with Seven Samurai, Magnificent Seven, or the episode of Mandalorian I'm talking about. It's like, okay, here you see the characters that they put together in this movie. Now they're training people in order so they can fight the battle and all that. And it's like, okay, so maybe there will be something new. But
when you're talking about Seven Samurai, are you talking about like the black and white, like 1950?
Kurosawa?
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never seen that.
That one, if I remember it, that's a 3-hour movie, but that one doesn't feel 3 hours to watch it for me.
Oh, really?
There's something about
Well,
that
for
one
you,
in
Curtis, because
particular.
you have to read subtitles.
Yeah, you do have to read for that one.
He'll never watch it.
He'll never watch it, probably.
But put it on the list. We'll see.
The thing about that movie for me is I saw it when I was in art school, and it felt like I was literally taken back in time to that era and watching it happen in front of my eyes the way it was made. And that's one of those things that I don't get that feeling from many other movies or anything. But for some reason, that movie in particular just like pulled me by the throat and said, come on, we're going to go back to the samurai era and you're going to watch this. It's amazing in that way. It's one of my favorites.
It's definitely, I think, as a fan, if you're a fan of like cinema and that sort of stuff, it's definitely one I think everybody should watch. I didn't see it until a year or two ago. But it's definitely something that has informed and been an influence on so many movies and stories since it came out. I mean, Magnificent Seven, both versions of that are straight up just Western remakes of. I mean, they put their own little twist to it, or their own little differences to make it so it's not like, oh well, I know what's going to happen here. Even though you kind of know what's going to happen here, but with this movie, it borrows very heavily from Seven Samurai, but it does it in such a way where, like you were saying, it's got the Han Solo, it's got the Tarzan character, it's got this character, it's got that character, but like they're not doing what the Han Solo or the Tarzan character is supposed to do, and they're not doing what those characters were doing in any of the Seven Samurai, and it's like, wait, like it's like your brain's trying to like, because there's so much pre-existing stuff going on, like Ghost in the Shell, the one with Scarlett Johansson a couple of years ago. If that movie had come out 20 years ago, would have blown people's minds, even with the technology at the time. But because Matrix has been out and so many other sci-fi cyberpunk movies have come out, I feel like that movie landed, because it's like it didn't land as well because like everybody, like there was nothing, it didn't offer anything than other really nice special effects.
Trevor says, I agree, Sean. I don't want to have to watch explained YouTube videos for every movie to understand it. I like it if it makes me have to pay attention, but sometimes it's too much. That's how I feel about Andor. So there you go.
Never even saw it. But yeah, I hate when everyone's like, oh, well, you have to read this or do this or whatever. Like, just no. Make me like it here, and then I'll seek out other stuff.
Yeah.
I will say, and I know I've been beating this drum. I've taken over for Trevor beating this drum on this Blue Eye Samurai, but man, I tell you what, that is one that, you don't need any extra. You're just like totally immersed in that world. Like it pulls you in, and it is, the only thing is, I think it's going to be like 2 more years before we get a season 2, and it kills me because season 1 is so freaking good.
You're beating your One-Eyed Samurai?
Yeah.
I want to cap off one thing because I didn't finish this thought. The sad thing about the Ghost in the Shell not doing well, the one with Scarlett Johansson, is because like that's the story that inspired so many of those other stories, is what I was trying to say. Like,
right.
I don't think we would have the Matrix
like
if the original Ghost in the Shell didn't happen.
Correct.
Gotcha.
And I know it was a comic, and then the anime and everything. So I know there was different iterations of it. But like if those didn't happen, the Matrix doesn't happen. So many other movies with that sort of stuff don't happen. So it's just a little disappointing that things that came after it and were inspired by it have had a better success than the original. And it's probably because they deviated a lot in some places from the original, I think, in the remake. But sorry, that was my point there.
Well, there is something to be said that like Star Wars is obviously a sum of its parts, because there's Kurosawa in that as well. There's Flash Gordon. There's old cowboy serials from back in the day too. Those are things that influenced Spielberg and Lucas. And Lucas, basically, it was the idea of he was hoping to make Flash Gordon, and then it became Star Wars because he couldn't get the licensing, and he cobbled together things that interested him, even like religion on like a simpler level and all that stuff. And the thing is, he had something to say with that. And there was definitely like, he introduced you to a world that you never saw before. And there was this feeling in that where all around the edges of that film, there was so much more out there that would interest you. And there was so much more out there to make your imagination go wild and stuff. And he did it in a way where it was creating something fresh from pieces that he loved. And it's like that worked in 77 and it still could work today. But the thing is, it's like Zack Snyder, like Jesse's saying, I don't think that there's somebody there who's contesting anything of what he's trying to do, and they're just letting him do his thing. And Zack Snyder just doesn't have that kind of way about him. He's very much just, let's put in the slow-mo. Let's have these things that I personally need in these movies. that to me, I'm like, Star Wars doesn't need to have adult themes for me to enjoy that, because it's enjoyable on every level, from, if you're a kid to an adult, really. But then all of a sudden it's like, same with the DC movies. Well, let's make them darker. Let's make them more mature. Why can't you have a Superman that smiles? Why can't you have a Superman who's enjoying himself and making people feel safe and all that? And it's kind of the same thing with this movie, where it's just like the sum of its parts are there, but when you look at what is he trying to say with them, it's literally like he's writing fan fiction about the parts that he's trying to talk about, and there's no substance to what he's trying to do with it past, I want to just do this.
It's like he's directing with ADHD, and like there's just no
sort of,
it's just kind of like squirrel, like it's like it just going in different directions. There's not a whole lot of cohesiveness, and it's like I said, I like the parts, kind of like what you're saying, like the parts are there, but it's not polished. For sure.
No. And I will say that this one conceit about me watching it, after it got to a certain point in the movie, I got sick of the slow-mo. I really got like everything. It's like all of a sudden everybody's eating breakfast in slow-mo. Everybody has to walk in slow-mo, whatever you're doing. It's in
wiping their ass in slow-mo.
Wiping their ass in slow-mo. And are they standing up or are they sitting down? Going back old school with OffWorld on that. But like I actually I was like, wait a minute, Netflix can do it where you can watch a movie in like 1.5 speed or 2 speed, right? So I put it in that speed for the end of the movie, because I was like, I'm done. I just need to I want to literally say I've seen it, but I don't need to sit through all this. And I ended up watching the last, I want to say 20 to 30 minutes of that movie in 1.5 speed and finishing it in half the time. And it was the craziest thing. I watched it. I'm like, that didn't feel like I sped it up at all. It literally felt like this is the speed you needed to watch it originally. And it bugged me even more to go like, what is happening here? I'm literally fast forwarding your movie, and all that it did was make me not have to spend 2.5 hours watching it, but it still felt like the right runtime out of this. What the hell?
That's funny.
It was, I don't know.
Again, I enjoyed the movie. I know I'm saying I don't think it's anything too harsh about the movie itself. Nope. I did like it. There was a couple moments where the CG lost me, but overall I liked it. It's not landing on my top 13 list or in my ultimates list or anything anytime soon, but we'll see how much, if it comes out on Blu-ray, would I buy it is kind of my standing thing. And I think some movies like this, suffer on going to Netflix or straight to streaming when you don't get to have the audience experience, with a shared audience. It doesn't mean the movie is better or worse because you saw it with other people, but I think some things just take on a different aspect when you don't do that. And I'm not dissing watching stuff at home, because if you have to go to the bathroom or you want your own snacks, whatever, it's right there.
Really? Go to the bathroom? You got to throw that out there when there's some of us that can't use our bathroom right now.
You said you could do it like once an hour.
And I can bring my own snacks to the theater. That's not an issue.
But yeah, I can't go to the bathroom at the movie theater while the movie's playing. I can't miss anything,
Yeah, you just bring an empty Gatorade bottle, the wide mouth ones.
You just say stuff.
Now that makes me think of that damn what's the one where The Watch with Ben Stiller and Vince Vaughn. He has to go to the bathroom to the back of the.
Yeah.
I got the tooth in. Oh my god, it's turning sexual.
Yeah.
You
just got to get the lips in it.
Yeah.
Would you buy Super 7 Ultimates Rebel Moon figures, Jesse?
I would not buy the entire collection. If they did a Korra, I might. And what was the droid? Jiminy? I think it was. Maybe those. Some of this, they look cool. It depends what the designs look like. If they look like the G.I. Joe animated ones, absolutely not. But if they look, like like Four Horsemen quality sculpts, then maybe.
I hope that Jimmy has a pull string so you can hear how tired Anthony Hopkins sounded trying to do that voiceover.
Oh, shoot, what was I going to say?
Damn it, Sean. You interrupted his thought.
No.
You boom!
Oh, I had to look his name up. I think he's a good actor, but every time I see Ed Skrein or however the hell you say his name,
Francis.
I
the bad guy.
Yeah, I just want to do, you know, the go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep from like Avengers, you know, Age of Ultron when Hulk Tony's in the Hulkbuster.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know him as a person. He might be the most amazing, kind person, but he always plays such sniveling
Douchebags.
beyond douchebag.
Yeah.
Like he was in one where, what was it, Midway a couple years ago, where, you know, it's set like World War II Battle of Midway, and he's this hero character. I had a really time like rooting for him, even though he was doing all the right things for that character, like a hero. But like, there's just something, and I don't get that way a lot about actors, but like I've just seen him play that character so many times. So seeing him playing a hero, I was like, when's he going to cheat on his wife? When's he going to betray his companions? When's he going to do like the bad guy thing? And he never did it. And it just frustrated me because I was like waiting for him to do something wrong the whole movie.
He does have a very douche-like punchable face. So
again, I think he's a great actor. Yeah. Like as soon as I saw him walk on screen, just the way he's holding himself and the haircut and everything, I'm like, oh, I hate this guy. And I think you're supposed to. Like they didn't.
I just thought it was funny, like seeing him in like a shirt and tie, and then like you got like this whole like you got these people that are like out in the like farmers, and they're dressed like they're from Nordic descent and all this, and like you've got such like these different styles and everything like all mixed together. Like when they showed that scene and he's just in like a shirt and like this nice thin tie and stuff, like a I don't know, uppity guy. I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? This is crazy.
He had that like, yeah, I'm gonna have to ask you to work Saturday.
Right.
But on top of that, for anyone who watched the movie Tropic Thunder, I heard in a few reviews, this was the best. I can't look at it the same way anymore after hearing this. There was one reviewer that said that Ed Skrein looked like Simple Jack from Tropic Thunder and also a Nazi at the same time. So they were so completely lost. What am I supposed to laugh or am I supposed to hate him? Which one am I doing here?
Well, and here's a funny thing. It's plays who is it? Dario in Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
Who looks like the Tarzan kind of Native American guy in this movie. But then the guy who replaced him as Dario is playing one of the villagers.
No.
It was
Yeah.
just like, again, that was one of those things where just certain actors lining up just were like,
that kind of struck me when like those two were talking to each other, and I'm like, those two played the same character. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. So,
but I'll leave it at this. I think it's worth watching. I mean, it's. I don't think it's going to land on most people's top 10 lists or whatever number top lists you have. But if it does, cool. I hope you like it. I definitely looking forward to the sequel just to see where it all goes. I think there's some good performances in this movie, absolutely. And you know, it's just one of those movies where something just didn't quite get there all the way for me to like really, really like it.
I will say it was enjoyable. I don't regret seeing it. I'm looking forward to the next one. But for anybody that's going to Netflix to watch something, check out Blue Eye Samurai first. And then when you're done, check this out. So, Sean, any last thoughts?
300 was okay.
Okay.
It honestly, like, if you like Zack Snyder stuff, it's more of his stuff. So if you really do like it, there you go. You probably will enjoy it or find something more out of it than I did. it's one that I will see the second part just because I'm curious if there's anything more than what he's already doing with this, but I don't have very high hopes that he will bring much more to the table than the blueprints of other things.
There you go.
And I will say 300 is probably, at least in my opinion, his best movie.
All right. Dooch, do we have a lightning round?
We do not. I will do
Okay.
better in 2024.
Okay. We do have a Have
Somebody
You Ever
has to.
that we will not be doing this week. We'll be doing next time, which is not next week because Jesse's got D&D next week. So it will be the following Friday, which is the 12th, I think. Yes, the 12th.
Yeah.
So on the 12th, we are going to be going over Johnny Dangerously, which is available on Max if you guys want to watch it and be back with us on the 12th to talk about that. So,
And whose was this?
This was mine.
Okay.
So, okay. Anything else, guys? We do have a show Sunday, right?
Do we?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Sunday
Well, you guys
at
do.
is it 1
I
p.m.
put 1
Eastern?
o'clock because I didn't realize I scheduled it for 1 o'clock. Does that work for you guys?
That works.
I think so.
Sure. Yeah.
Shouldn't be too big of a
Yeah. You
deal.
want us on it?
Yeah.
1 o'clock Eastern time.
I may still not have showered by then. So
Well, luckily we're not live.
We'll never
together.
know unless you tell us.
I'm gonna show up at the gym just to shower, and they're gonna be like, "Hey, we haven't seen you in a while." I'll be like, "Yeah, I'm just here to shower." So
No.
I'm gonna soap up my
hey, you're
grundle and
starting
get
the new
hell
year
out of
off.
here.
You're starting the new year off right at the gym. I'm just here to shower.
You're in the shower. New year, new you. New year,
Yeah.
new you.
Oh, I love it.
That's my New Year's resolution. I'm gonna take showers only at the gym. All right. Well, anything else, guys, or is that a show?
Looks like that's a show.
Looks like that's a show. All
I
right.
think that's
Well,
the show.
we hope to see
It's a
you
show.
on Shooting the Shelf on Sunday, New Year's Eve, 1 p.m. Eastern. We'll be on there. We'll be talking about some stuff. Yeah, some 2023 type stuff. So there you go. It'll be the last day of the year, and we'll be finishing strong. So with the 52nd episode of Shooting the Shelf for this year.
52.
Look at you guys go.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah.
I did that right. I mean, I did it wrong to me, but I did it right for the camera.
Good job. Good job reversing yourself.
I didn't mean to. I thought I was doing it right for me.
All right. Well, till next time, folks. We'll see you on the
What's in your
OffWorld.
wallet?
Stay
Bye, guys.